My mom was teaching me flat earth, like even my mom grew up in a religious home. Like I'm one of the few in
Yeah,
my family that
there you
went
go.
scientific
Religion,
with
see?
it. And even my mom
Bro,
was
don't
Started
hold on.
wrong.
Let me say something real quick. Rob, you do know that Neil deGrasse Tyson, all of these physicists and globe earthers are religious too. They be Christians and Muslims too, and that a flat earther being religious means nothing. You got to hear out their argument. Can't use that on them because globe earthers are Christians too. Fair enough, man. Can we not discriminate on a
Fair enough,
Oh
person
yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Malcolm X.
Well,
intelligence
people,
Oh, about time.
well,
based on their
people,
belief? Yeah.
well, people come in all. Yeah, the people can be what they want to be, but there's no religion that even mentions flat Earth. Flat Earth is not in any religion, so
You know
you
what,
guys
So
can
why
say
man?
you?
Bible.
All the
You know what, bro?
religions,
Have you
all of them.
researched? You know what? That's coming from a person who ain't researched, so I ain't gonna even respond to that.
Yeah, we wasting
I
our
ain't even
time with him.
responding to that, man.
yeah, yeah. You never find.
He just gonna be argumentative. That's what he is, man.
Well, no, I'm just being realistic. There never
Well,
says flat Earth in the
You're not
Bible.
being realistic.
the thing about Rob, he don't require a response because he just make bold claims and think just because he white or something that it just stand. No one did
I'm
this.
right.
No
I'm
one
right.
said that. Like he don't
Yeah.
say. Guess what?
Exactly.
Right. I'm right.
Rob never say. Share my screen, Sanchez. Let me show you what I'm talking about. He just make claims and it's like, okay, it's right because he said it. Cool. You don't
That's
have
it.
to, you know. It's like he don't show nothing. He just talk. We show all for proof with everything we saying.
And he never present an argument either. He never have a sensible argument to present at
No,
all.
it's
He just
because
always say, "No, that's not happening."
everything I'm talking about, you're bringing
You
up. I'm
ain't
not
talking
talking
about
about
nothing.
anything.
You ain't
I'm
talking
talking
about
about
nothing.
I'm talking
Well,
about
let's
everything you
talk
bring up,
about
Michelle.
something. Let's talk about the
Yeah,
rotation of the Earth again.
Yeah,
Let's get back on it.
yeah.
no,
Let's do that.
nobody, like, no one is saying, like, my mom didn't just get me believing in flat earth because of religion. Although she's religious, my mom is smart enough to think for herself. Like, I
Okay.
studied it because I knew there was something more to it. That's what made me get into the sciences. Like, this is not just some voo-voo juju. This is something about our reality, about our truth. That's the reason why Brother Sanchez said it doesn't make sense for you to be a believer because, like, you're trying to force yourself to believe something magical, and it's not magical. It's just our reality. It's just our truth. Like you don't have to make it so complicated. Like when you lift your arm up in the air, it definitely goes up in the air. Nobody debates that. But now when we make all these other points, you want to come up with all this debates, and we're telling you put up something on the screen. Like where's it gonna come from?
Oh,
But
I can share stuff.
all
I don't
Can
mind
those.
I
sharing.
can I ask you a
Put
question,
something up
Rob?
on the screen so we can get a real debate going because we have more knowledge. It's more that we could say, but you're not making no point, so we don't have nothing to go back with because you're not putting nothing on the screen. You're not making no points. You keep talking about perspective. We
I'm
get
just
it.
so good at it.
Put
I'm just so
something on
good
the
at it.
screen.
Yeah. Oh, sure, I will. If Bro Sanchez gives
All right.
me sharing
Yeah.
perms,
Can
Yeah.
you
Put
ask? Can you
something
ask
up
that
so we
question?
I'll bring some up.
Rob, listen, research the Cook County Herald, Grand Mary's, Minnesota Saturday, April 21, 1900, page 1 to page 4, you will realize that in that newspaper there is flat earth, commonly known, not just speculation, commonly known as
Yeah,
true, correct, accurate, and
yeah,
non-misleading.
yeah. It's like an Inquirer type of magazine back then. You don't even know your own sources, dude.
Oh boy, we
Hey
have
Rob, hey
thousands of
Rob, hey
sources.
Rob. How much clouds weigh for in your science? How much clouds weigh?
Clouds can weigh millions of pounds
Hmm.
And why is that?
because they're heavy.
Can you explain your science? I'm gonna hear you explain why the cows weigh a million
yeah,
pounds.
yeah, and don't just explain it. Remember, you're supposed to put something up on the screen so we can see it. We're trying to see and hear what you gotta say.
I promise you
Yeah.
he ain't gonna do nothing. I promise you he won't even answer the simple question.
Matter
Watch.
of fact, I'm gonna get a scale right now, and I'm gonna go fucking up to a cloud. I'm gonna weigh it on a scale.
Can we
Again,
see
they don't
something
know
on the
their own
screen?
stuff.
Rob, you cannot
He
measure
don't know his own
gas
stuff.
Right.
Exactly. He don't know
unless
his own stuff.
you use a right mechanism. You cannot measure gas with a weight mechanism for, let's say, kilograms or pounds, because it is gas pressure. You do not understand what you're talking about. Now, when we talk about weight, we're talking about the density of the matter. What is the density of the matter in a gas environment or a gas,
Why you
gas?
ain't let? No, hold on. You don't answer the question for him. Let him answer it. See, you giving him too much. He
All
could.
right.
Why you saying that? This is a question for him. He supposed to be saying that.
Yeah,
You know, he doesn't know.
I could never get anything.
and let me tell you something, Retton. When I be calling Rob lazy, it's true because he didn't even Google it right quick. He could have just Googled it right quick. Yeah.
I am Google.
When I asked him about the erasure, he didn't know. He didn't even know what the answer to the question was.
Something. We've been asking you for like 30 minutes. Put something on the screen so we can break down the science.
What do you want me to put on the screen?
Your argument, proof of your argument, receipts like how we do.
Did you give me perms?
Proof.
Did you give me perms?
We've been giving you the terms for 30 minutes. 30 minutes.
He ain't gonna do nothing. I'm telling y'all, we wasted our time.
Pick your favorite theory, Rob.
Right
Your
at the
favorite
bottom,
theory.
you click share
Rob
screen.
be trolling for
Bro
real.
said, I'm gonna tell you how you know Rob or troll. Rob said, what do you want me to put on the screen? How about proof for your argument, sir? This is a debate.
Exactly.
Yeah, proof about the rotation. This stream was about the Earth's rotation, and we ain't even got it.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, no, that's why I came on here. Like I said,
So
you
put
can bring
something
up
on the
your
screen.
bros.
You can't just keep
Okay,
repeating
fine. Bro
yourself.
Sanchez, can you please bring up full call pendulum?
Okay, yeah, I'm about to bring it up right now. Give me a minute. I got you. Now we talking.
Everybody
Hold up,
take-
everybody. We
And
about
Hey, hold on, hold on.
I can debunk that in
Bro
30
Sanchez.
seconds.
I don't have a computer. I have a phone. I mean, I know you're the host of the show, man. I really appreciate it if you just bring up.
Yeah,
a couple
Retton,
things.
I'm gonna let you go at him, Retton, and then whenever you get tired of him, you know I'll go for sure. We
Yeah,
here for the shit.
hey, listen, when you pull up the fructose pendulum, pull up a crane next to the fructose pendulum next to his fructose pendulum.
You know I got you for Sheezy. Oh yeah. Let me pull this
See
up.
how easy that was?
Yeah.
Let me pull this on
It's
up,
so
Rob.
easy. Some random guy on Facebook on YouTube figure it out.
Let's go ahead.
Hey, Rob,
and
after you answer the question, I'd like to know from the flat earthers, how does the
hold on a second.
work on the
One at
flat
a
earth?
time. One at a time, because the brother about the. So Rob want the Foucault pendulum, and guess what? We finna talk about it. Now Retton said he wanted to go at it first, right? So Retton,
let him go.
So Retton, go ahead, Retton, and hold up, Rob. You said to pull it up. Well, we know how it works. Hold on, whoa, real quick. Rob, since we already know the argument and how it works, can Retton just start going responding to it?
I got no problem with that. I've been talking a lot.
Cool. We know, because we know how it works. And Retton, you can just lay it on them how it works and go on debunk it and do your thing. I'm falling back. Yeah, go ahead.
Flat earth, I would love to hear
Falling
this.
Oh, and shout out to the brother who said he loved to hear it on the flat earth. We glad that you want to hear it, man. Appreciate you for joining. Retton, I'm gonna go, Retton to go first, and then whenever I'll come in. But yeah, go ahead.
Rob,
Go.
can I ask you a question?
Come on, man. Don't start with do I know something or something like that. Just say what you're gonna say.
I'm just asking, can I ask you a question? Yes or no?
Here we go. Go ahead. Yes, sir. You can ask me a question.
Relax, Rob. It's okay. Yeah.
So why doesn't construction cranes move like the Foucault's pendulum?
Because they're not calibrated. They're not that type of pendulum.
Wow.
It don't hang just like the Foucault's pendulum. It don't hang exactly
Foucault's
the same way.
pendulum is moving.
Yeah, it's totally different, man. Look
So how does it work on the flat earth?
So you just because you said it's totally different.
Hold on. He finna explain it to the other brother. Let him and Rob go for just a minute, and then I'm gonna let you get it, brother. Trust me, I got you. Go ahead. Because we don't want to rob the dance from it behind you.
Yeah. So actually, as long as you kept the crane moving or whatever, I'm saying if you kept the motion of the ball was consistent, you can keep it moving. But it really doesn't have a mechanism to do that. The Foucault's pendulum can keep something moving for a prolonged period of time, so you can register movement of the ball as it oscillates around this pattern here. It makes a pattern in the fucking thing, moves all the way around. But eventually it'll go all the way around, and that's how it works. You can measure it. It's measurable. You can do it yourself.
Can you show me a Foucault's pendulum that move on its own?
Yeah, they have.
Can you pull up a video of a Foucault's pendulum moving it on its own?
I can't really pull up anything. I'd love to. I don't really know what I'm.
It doesn't work like that.
Listen, bro. I'm gonna say this again. If anybody cut in while Retton and Rob talking again, I'm gonna just boot you. I got to up the ante now because I really want order. All right, that's very disrespectful. These two guys are going at it. You don't need to speak for Retton. You're gonna muddy the water. We need to know what Retton is saying, and we need to hear what Rob is saying because they're debating each other. If you cut in, what if Retton's saying, I'm not making that argument, man. Let me speak for myself. Let every man do their own fighting in my rings. I keep telling y'all that. Ain't nobody jumping in. It's always fair phase. I'm a referee it the right way. Go ahead, y'all.
All right, Rob, go ahead. I'm listening.
Oh, sorry. No, I believe that you said you were talking about the way it moves, right? How is it moving?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yeah. So like I said, if you're thinking of the spinning of the Earth, what causes the pendulum to move, then that's not what you're not understanding. The pendulum itself is swung with a mechanism that'll keep it swinging. Okay, so it doesn't stop long enough so you can register movement. It doesn't go in a different direction. It literally stays on the path that it was set on, and the movement of the Earth itself is what moves the ball around the fucking pattern.
So,
okay.
So the Foucault's pendulum go from west to east too? The Earth rotation, that's what you're saying?
It proves that the Earth is moving because the ball itself is moving. I think you're breaking up a little bit.
And then I know that it's other guys that want to debate. I'm going to give y'all just as much time, and I'm not going to let nobody cut you off either, but you got to be just a little bit more patient. They bringing it home.
Yeah, we're
Rob,
about
you answered my question. Did you hear me, Rob, when I asked you, does the Foucault's pendulum move with the atmosphere as far as from west to east? Because I'm looking at it do its own thing right now. So what's going on?
Well, that's just an animation on a YouTube page. I mean, you have to go.
Okay.
Go look at it.
Okay. So,
you have to go,
is
look
the Earth? Hold on. Is the Earth
There's
rotation making it move? What's making the Foucault's pendulum move? The rotation of the Earth?
No, the rotation of the Earth is making the Foucault pendulum swing in which would appear to be different direction. It makes it change direction. It doesn't make it move. The mechanism up top that swings.
I thought you said everything was going one way. I thought you said everything was going at one way.
So let me interject real quick.
Per degree.
So let me interject real quick if y'all don't mind. Do y'all think that y'all reached the point where I can kind of reach in and kind of...
Yeah, go ahead,
okay.
Sanchez.
All right.
He ain't saying nothing.
So I'm going to say...
He keeps telling me I don't understand. That's all. That's his answer. Right. I don't understand. That's it.
I'm going to speak for like 30 seconds to a minute, and the other brother that's been waiting patiently, get ready, prepare yourself, because I'm about to give you the mic so you can be preparing yourself. So what I would say about what is changed, just for clarity moving forward, it is said, by the globe earthers, they have to push the Foucault pendulum, because remember, steel on the globe is 1,000 miles per hour. So they saying we do got to give it an additional force, and then what this thing gonna reveal to us as it swings is that the Earth is actually rotating while it swings, because if the Earth wasn't rotating, when you pushed it, it'll just it'll go back and forth in the direction that you pushed it and just settle. But they saying if the Earth is spinning and affecting everything, even when you suspend something off the air, off the ground like a pendulum, it'll show you the rotation of the Earth. So the question is there any deception behind the Foucault pendulum? How would we be able to prove if there's deception or not? Well, let me tell you what a pendulum is. According to globalists, there's no tricks. It's just basically a ball on the string. And they're saying that there's no real mechanisms or like batteries or the stuff flat earthers claim and like to say, like, it's some kind of motor in it or some kind of other force making it, do that pattern. The people who made this, they said, listen, we didn't do nothing but push it one time. Ain't nothing else messing with it. And it's going to show you the Earth rotation by making this certain pattern, which, would be true. Now, here go the problem, how we can prove if it's true or not, or if it's some kind of trickery involved. Remember, a pendulum ain't a complicated object. If it was, then flat earthers would be right. We can say, okay, there's a lot of tricks to this. But they're saying it's just basically a ball on a string suspended just to give us a simple observation, and the only thing we need to do is push it one time, because remember, still is 1,000 miles per hour. So I give them that push, right? Here go the thing, what I don't give them, what you said, Retton, about the crane. See, Retton, here go the truth, Retton. If me and you went to this crane yard and each one of us pushed these cranes in the same direction or a different direction, what I'm saying is they wouldn't all make the pattern that Foucault's pendulum just made. Now remember, they should, because what is Foucault pendulum trying to prove to us? That anything suspended in Earth's rotating atmosphere will actually reveal to you the Earth's rotation. Anything, not just Foucault's pendulum. Otherwise, it'll be a dumb experiment. It'll be a trick, right? Because it's supposed to prove how things suspended on a moving Earth would behave, assuming if I walk up to that crane and push it, though. So they said the crane already moving at 1,000 miles per hour right now while it's being still. So now when you push it, when you swing something that's turning in a 360-degree circle roughly, it'll make that pattern that we see up under Foucault's pendulum. I'm telling you, if all of y'all went to this crane yard and observed the pattern under each one of these cranes, it'll be a weird, irregular, random pattern that don't make no sense at all. And my claim is that debunks Foucault's pendulum, because if his pendulum's supposed to show me a consistent behavior of how all things would behave when they're suspended on a rotating globe, then he just can't get the pattern with your pendulum. That defeats the purpose of it. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So what Rob will have to say is, Sanchez, you wrong. If you went to that crane yard, each one would make Foucault's that pattern. And I'm saying I don't believe it.
And I'm saying that Foucault's pendulum is so accurate that you could set one at every latitude line from 10 degrees
you can
all
say
the way
that
down to all the way down, and you would get the different.
Because he said.
You would get different
because he
speeds,
said it.
Hold on.
You know how he do it.
No, because we can do it.
You know how he do it. Then until you do it, you shouldn't bring it up though.
I can't
Real
even
talk.
get it out, man, because it burns. I know it burns like holy water, because you'd be able to measure the speed of which the Earth is
You
spinning
would be. Coulda,
at
shoulda,
every
woulda.
degree, every latitude. It's mathematically
Wouldn't you
proven.
coulda,
So
shoulda,
they-
woulda,
Rob,
had a
what's the
goose?
difference between a Foucault's pendulum and a crane? What's the difference? They're the same?
The same in what aspect?
Did they behave the same? If you push it, they gonna behave the same?
No, Foucault's pendulum isn't a crane, buddy.
Huh?
A crane isn't a Foucault's pendulum. Sorry, buddy.
I know, but Foucault's pendulum is supposed to show us how the crane would behave if we push it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't know that.
You're not understanding. You don't know. You don't know that. You're not understanding how the.
That's all you say. I don't know.
Now you don't
Your
understand it,
vocabulary is
right?
so small.
Right.
You have a very small
It
vocabulary.
started in a position. That's all that it ever is. It's not started. It's not swung around like a fucking tether ball.
Bro, we're not saying that. We're not saying that, Rob.
It drifts itself. And it drifts differently along different latitudes.
What we're saying is the
Based on
Foucault.
rotation of-
Listen, the Foucault pendulum don't drift itself. The Earth rotation drifted, dog. And what we saying is, if the Earth rotation drifted, then it should drift these cranes that's suspended when we push them, just like we push the pendulum. Have no problem with you pushing the pendulum to show the the angular momentum, to show all of it, to show that your rotation. What we're saying, if somebody say, bro, prove to me that there's no trickery with this pendulum, then guess what? If Foucault pendulum is there to say anything on Earth would do this, that's suspended, because everything is within the Earth rotation, just like these cranes. So if a person got a problem with Foucault pendulum, guess what Foucault would say? You don't gotta use my pendulum. Go do your own thing. Suspend your object, push it, and watch it do the same thing. That's what legitimized Foucault pendulum. But if only Foucault pendulum is doing this, that debunks it. That means there's some trickery involved. It don't prove
No,
you see what I'm
because
saying?
no,
That's
that's
what I'm
a
saying.
tool.
You
No,
just said that we kind of
that's a
glossed
tool
over.
that you use for the job. That's like saying, well, this sawzall doesn't cut like a fucking planer saw, so it's
If
just it
Foucault
doesn't mean
pendulum is showing me how items
same.
suspended on a rotating earth is behaving, then it shouldn't just be how Foucault's pendulum is behaving. It's supposed
Yeah,
to
but
be
bro, the
representing
cranes aren't.
natural phenomena, bro. And you can't say, well, that's just a crane.
But the
That's
cranes
just
aren't
a no,
pendulums.
bro.
They're
Bro,
not
they don't
pendulums.
have
They
to
have
be.
arms.
They
They have to
doesn't
move the
have,
arm back and
but
forth.
they don't
They
have
move
to
the arm
be
back
though.
and
You
forth.
can. They don't have to be. What we got to realize is that the part that's Foucault's pendulum is a pendulum, but it's a pendulum that's designed to show us how anything that's suspended off the earth would behave if the earth was rotating. This is the argument that they making, that because the earth is rotating, everything suspended off the ground got to be accounted for. So if we only can prove this with Foucault pendulum ain't mimicking reality if we can't go outside and say, okay, according to Foucault, we can prove that the earth is rotating just by looking at any object that's suspended off of the ground. If it's still, once we push it, we'll see that the earth is rotating based
Why you
upon
don't?
Yeah,
Why you
you're
don't
right,
understand
bro,
that though?
Sanchez. Like
He brought the subject up and
like-
can't even explain it better
like
than you, Sanchez.
he's
You
saying
almost had it.
even Foucault himself didn't intend for you to just he ain't making the claim that it only can happen with my pendulum. He's saying that my pendulum proves how all things behave. If it's inside of the earth spinning atmosphere, then why would it be doing anything other than Foucault pendulum? If it is, then it's debunking his pendulum.
There you go.
Yeah. But we just glossed over that. You said that all those cranes would, if you start them in different directions, that they wouldn't do the pattern. You just said that. I don't know
What?
why.
Say that again?
But they would be. I disagree with you.
Say
They
that
would
again?
probably- You said that if we got on all those cranes and we pushed them or started them or in different directions, then they wouldn't do the
Now,
thing
guess-
that the Foucault's pendulum does.
Right, now guess
I
what I'm gonna
disagree
do?
with you.
Now guess what I'm gonna do, right? Because I was hoping somebody would do that. I want every flat earther in the chat room, and this is not no little scam or no grift, this is real stuff. Hit the super chat, hit the cash app, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go and duplicate this experiment in the field. And guess what I'm gonna do? I don't know if there are like some mini cranes, guys, like some little cheap miniature cranes or something we can get, small scale cranes. And guess what? We can do this on a small scale. This is totally doable. Do y'all think? I'll get started on that shit
The
today.
smallest crane, the smallest
Google.
crane to be a
Bro,
construction. The smallest
Bro,
crane to be
Sanchez.
a destroyer crane, the one that destroyed buildings.
You
the
don't
little,
even.
the little
Hey,
No,
small.
you
no,
need a
I'm
crane.
talking about like
It's a wrecking ball.
like the cranes you would teach children with, a little model crane for like a little bit.
Yeah, a little
you know,
toy crane. Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
even need a crane. Just go to
It's a
Home
destroyer
Depot.
train.
Go to Home Depot and rent a
Oh,
Skylift.
that's
It's
what
like
we're
45
talking.
feet, 40 feet tall. That's plenty.
What you said do now? Home Depot?
Just go to Home Depot. You rent a sky track. It's like 40 feet high. That's as high as you need to go, and set your little pendulum up. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, I can make one, but look, I want to make a bunch of them, so I
Couple
want to
$100
make
an
it
hour.
because we need at least 5 or 6 pendulums just to see. And then what I'm gonna do? Because guess what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna have like a ball with some. Listen, I'm gonna have a ball with some sort of paint in it, and I'm gonna poke a little hole in it, and then we're gonna push it, and it's gonna paint a pattern beneath each one, gonna be its own color, and we gonna see.
You gotta go in a straight line. You gotta go in a perfect straight line. You
All
can't
right,
move
I'm gonna
it.
push them all. Watch this. I'm gonna get started on this today.
Well, you
Listen,
don't push.
Okay,
You drop.
I
You
would
don't
avoid
push.
the
You don't
toy
push.
crane,
You drop.
'cause I
You
don't
don't
think
push.
those are gonna-
You drop.
guess what?
Bro,
I'm gonna tell you something, bro. The simpler we make it, the better. Because all we trying to prove is that the Earth is. Listen, no, simple as Occam's razor. The scientific method ain't complicated. Let me explain something to you. Ain't nothing more simpler than suspending an object in the air. That's the basic principle of a damn pendulum. Now listen, it's a very basic observation that, listen, if the earth is rotating, suspend something in a rotating atmosphere and watch, it shows you based on the pattern it make, that the earth is rotating. We see what the pendulum doing. So all I need to do is create my own little makeshift pendulums, like we said. And like Rob said, make sure you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use AI. I'm gonna have to build something that's so accurate when it push them that all of them get pushed in a straight line at the same time where it ain't even me. And I know I can get AI to do that some kind of way. So I'm gonna make this happen, bro.
So
I'm telling y'all,
that all the cranes gonna sync up, everything gonna sync together. That what he's saying?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
According
He's
to your
saying that
last-
He think that's a
because,
clock.
yeah, he's saying that each pendulum gonna have its own color liquid dripping, right? Now they all need to make the
Can't do it
same.
like that. It can't be liquid dripping.
According-
It's gotta be
No,
calibrated.
They no, Rob.
It's gotta be a solid piece
I'm
of
with
thing.
you,
It's gotta be
Rob, but
calibrated.
like they can do this. I want them to do this.
Listen though.
Just-
Yeah, true. I hear
Rob, we ain't gotta put liquid on them. We can find another way to measure. You know what I'm saying? The pattern that they making. There's so many ways to do it, so we ain't just stuck
use
on
a
that one.
marker?
Right. We can do with plenty of ways. Yeah.
Bro,
Sounds
Sanchez.
scared though. They sound a little scared. But go ahead.
No,
Wait a
no,
minute.
I want you
Wait a
guys
minute.
to
Wait a
do
minute,
that.
bro. Sanchez.
Can I
Wait a
say
minute, bro.
something real
It
Why
quick,
don't you
bro?
hang? Hey,
globe.
why don't you hang and get some paintbrushes and just hold them real steady and just swing back and forth and just wherever you paint.
You said hang a paintbrush.
Yeah, like upside down, and you can like just swing across the thing. and then
Nah,
you
you
just
gotta hang a ball up. You gotta hang
Guess
a ball
what,
up.
bro?
Hold up.
Bro,
You
it
don't
gotta
think
be.
Rob
No,
is
it's
saying
gotta
put
be.
the-
Now listen, let me
put the
tell y'all
paintbrush
something, bro.
on a lead
Let me
ball.
tell y'all something. At this point, globalists, I don't want no advice on my pendulum experiment because I know if I use a paintbrush, that'll be a hit piece. It gotta be a spear. And because it's even weighted on all sides, because the paintbrush ain't gonna hang evenly, it's gonna distort the experiment and make it, and it's gonna make a different pattern because it's a paintbrush, like it's leaning to one side or it's off here, that ain't a good object, bro. That was horrible to say. We using a ball, man.
All right. Hey Rob, how you calibrate a ball on the string anyway? How you calibrate that?
Well, when you machine the object, the plumb bob, which is usually going to be a metal type of object, you have to calibrate it so all of the lines are
How
cut
do you
perfectly.
calibrate it though?
Well, you
What's-
machine it
what's the
in a
Rob, I'm with you,
CNC
but you walked into that
machine.
one.
It's probably a CNC, man. Probably drilled the specifications on a machine.
Do
with
I
water.
stand on a hill? Do I be on a flat surface? Like, how do I calibrate the ball and the string? Go ahead.
Rob,
Well,
just don't stop.
you build it. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't stop. I mean,
Yeah,
you're asking me.
I'm with you. I'm
you're
with you,
asking-
Rob.
You're
He
asking
said we
me
gotta
different
calibrate
questions.
it. Now I'm asking him how to do it. He don't know how to do it. You see
No,
that?
I said you have to calibrate when you're building it to specifications, to what you're doing. I didn't say talk about
How
calibrating.
do you calibrate it? Do you use numbers? Like, what do you use to calibrate? You know what calibrate
Yeah.
means?
Yeah, well, you make sure that it's equal. Like it's not top heavy,
Buddy,
bottom heavy, side heavy.
bullets have a
Equal
different
to what?
caliber. You don't know
Equal
what
to
you're
what?
talking about, Rob. A caliber is a different measurement. Stop
Equal what?
talking out
You
of
see
your...
how he can't even he can't even see how he can't even.
Okay.
Yeah, he don't know.
Have you?
He
Okay.
don't
First
know.
of all,
yeah,
have you ever
Don't worry about
you
the
ever held-
calibration,
I'm
y'all.
doing
Have you
this,
ever
bro.
held a plumb bob? Have you ever held a plumb bob in your hand? You know what a plumb bob is.
Say it
You know what
again.
a plumb bob.
Right.
Do you know what a plumb bob is? Have you ever had one in your hand? A plumb bob. Do you understand what it
Yes.
is? Okay.
Yes.
It looks like a fucking like a big butt plug. Okay. These things are fucking.
Oh, my
They're
God.
milled.
I'm
They're
out.
milled. They're fucking milled for specifications to be, not wobbly to one side, heavier on one side,
What do I
lighter
gotta
on the
do with
middle.
calibration?
That's called calibration. Oh
Do I
my
can
God.
calibrate
Rob.
something in my hand?
Rob,
What
we
you use them
caliber
for is
bullets,
to get a
so we
90
don't
degree
mistake the
angle.
bullets from the
straight down.
44 with the 22.
Hey,
That's
let
how
me
we
say
calibrate
something, Rob.
things. Do
Hey,
not make
Rob.
mistakes.
Hey, Rob. You need to choose your words carefully.
100%.
On the channel, man. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, tell me how you calibrated it again, Rob. I'm waiting.
The plumb bob
I'd
is
like to
built.
use a little etymology.
The plumb bob-
bro.
The plumb bob
Little
is built,
etymology.
dude, and then if it comes out of the fucking mold or whatever, that comes out of the machine, and they have to fucking make sure it's fucking balanced or whatever. you
What
have to
kind of
balance
machine?
it.
What kind of machine?
Well, ones that fucking mill plumb bobs, probably a CNC done by CNC nowadays.
Obviously, he can't explain how to calibrate something he claimed. He made a claim about calibration.
Well, this
and
is.
he don't know how
I mean,
calibration works.
I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it's pretty simple. I just explained it to you.
Exactly.
If you don't know what shaving off one side to make it equal to the other side means, so that's on you, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Bro
Okay.
So
Sanchez,
I know
check
you
so
don't
check
tell
this
me.
out.
Why you saying anything?
Brother
Bro
Sanchez.
Sanchez, can we use a little etymology on this?
You can do whatever
To
you want,
debunk
man.
this?
Freedom of speech and salutes
Okay.
to you. Hell yeah.
Yeah, because when I break it down, I get a full cult pendulum.
A fool's cult.
Oh,
Ooh.
Jesus.
I'm just
Damn.
saying,
Who's gold? Who's
Oh
gold?
shit. Oh shit.
a full
No,
cult
that was
Hey, no,
fire
hey, no.
though. Because look, I put the word fool up there, but I didn't even think of that end part should be cult. Ooh, wow, that's fire. I'm gonna have to change this collage now.
That was fire.
Real
For
talk.
real.
I'm gonna have to change
Oh
this.
shit.
Rob,
I
you
heard
can't
that
do
one
nothing
like
like that, boy.
I heard that shit like
Hey,
5
man.
years ago. You jump.
Many
Yeah,
times
Sanchez,
he
That
told
you
us.
was
do
Rob,
everything.
fire.
Rob
Rob
told
knows
us
boy.
many a
Bro,
day.
matter
I gotta
of
troll him
fact,
now.
I'm about to put this on a t-shirt, Marlon. I'm sorry, I gotta do it.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's a gift. It's a gift, bro.
Hey, I gotta
Because you
do it.
gotta calibrate it. The fool gotta calibrate it first.
Yeah,
For it to work.
yeah. No, the cult got to calibrate it. This is the fool's idea.
Yeah, you can go watch it. We can go watch a pendulum in progress. You can go watch it work. So bring up the video.
No, you gotta do
I'm,
it.
I'm,
You
I'm
made the
just
claim.
trolling you. I'm
How would
trolling
you
you,
tell me you
Rob.
made the claim?
Because bro Sanchez has the
I'm
fucking setup, bro. He's got the whole show.
All
He's
right,
got
so
the
listen.
computer.
Do y'all want to chat GPT how to calibrate
Yeah, let's do it.
damn it.
A full call pendulum.
Watch how stupid Rob about to look.
Brother Sanchez.
Uh-huh.
Actually,
Again,
already,
it's just to reduce error. That's all it
I
does.
actually pulled up the evidence already. I got it right
Okay.
here.
Okay.
The physicist is the one speaking on this one. And it says, because the Coriolis effect is purely vertical at the equator. The Coriolis acceleration is where the Earth's angular velocity vector is the velocity of some object relative to the surface of the Earth. At the equator, this points due north. For example, parallel to the surface. This means that the Coriolis acceleration is either zero or vertical at the equator. There is no torque on a pendulum at the equator that can make the pendulum turn. This is why, and one of the reasons why you see the video showing water draining from a pan one way just north of the equator, because the other way just south of the equator are hoaxes. And then it says right here, this is the AI. Why does, pull it back up. Okay, why does the Foucault's pendulum not prove the Earth's rotation? Because the Foucault pendulum demonstrates the relative motion between the Earth and the pendulum, not the Earth's rotation itself. The pendulum doesn't prove Earth's rotation in the same way that, for example, astronomical observations of the stars confirm it.
What you say about that, Rob?
Welcome to Globe Earth.
Okay,
And the
that
only thing
was a hell of
only thing they say about calibrating a Foucault's pendulum is centering it. So Rob don't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
No, the object you're hanging from it, dude. The object you're hanging
Why
from
you
it.
ain't say that when I asked you that?
That was the whole thing. I said the plumb bob.
You
what
said
plumb
I gotta
bob is?
calibrate it. You said calibrate.
Yes, the plumb bob. The plumb bob. You know what a plumb bob is? It's a fucking object that hangs at the bottom of a fucking the string.
It's one of
That's called a
these.
plumb bob.
It's basically a fucking pendulum, dog. It's just another. It's a dude who.
It's a plumb bob.
Basically,
That's the name.
listen, bro. You put this on the top of a building, and this is what they use to make sure the building is straight. So my whole thing is this right here. It is just another form of a pendulum. I'm just trying to simplify it. That's all. I'm trying to explain it for him, Rob, so we can get forward to it, man. So you know what it is. I'm just showing you. We know what it is, bro.
Yeah, and the difference between that and the crane is the crane is set up to move the load with an arm. So the crane can move the load.
So here's the thing, right?
So the crane,
hold on. Here's what I'm saying. When we bring up the crane, we're not bringing up the crane to even use it for its mechanical purposes. We're saying it's basically a cheap ass crane. you know, this experiment that you telling me to do, Rob, I'm not gonna be doing them but making little cranes or little pendulums. Like how what I'm telling you is the crane, if a person said, look, I wanna be cheap, right? But my daddy own a crane yard, but I wanna do this little pendulum experiment, they would be totally smart to say, hey man, I can use my daddy crane yard to do this. That's all I'm saying. That would actually be a doggone wise idea, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I'm saying that they're not the same. Just because
We
of
know,
an object,
but
just
they can
because how
prove
you
the same point, is what I'm saying.
Wow.
What I'm saying,
no, I mean, no, I know, but
what,
they can't.
yeah,
They
yeah.
can't, though.
You gotta quit insulting me by me. Like, I know a crane ain't a pendulum. I know a plumb bob ain't called a pendulum. And I think you playing dumb trying to insult my intelligence, just make you look stupid. What I'm telling you is, whether you wanna, you just told me earlier I can hang a fucking paintbrush, and now you picking on a crane. Y'all see how silly this shit
You see
is?
that? You see the
Well,
contradiction?
that was a joke.
No,
No,
you
it
a
was-
joke
you was
my
dead
ass. You
serious.
was dead
You
damn
was dead
serious,
serious.
dog. He was
No,
dead
yeah, but
serious. Nah, bro. Nah, bro.
He goofy. He
Nah,
definitely
man.
goofy.
No,
Yeah,
I know,
man.
but the
He
crane,
said it
the
doesn't
crane,
matter. You can
That's
just
crane
hang
fucking
up
has
a
crazy,
paintbrush.
bro. That's
You can effing
crazy,
hang a
man.
paintbrush up. It doesn't
it's
effing matter.
the
Right,
He said
crane's
it was
built different.
right.
acid too.
They're not the
He said it
same.
was
They won't do the
acid.
same thing.
I
They
had
won't
to,
do the same thing.
well, let me tell you, a paintbrush ain't a damn pendulum either, then, smart
Well,
guy.
obviously not. I know. It was
Okay, that's what I was telling you. Quit doing that to me. I didn't do it to you with your paintbrush thing, even though your paintbrush thing would actually flaw the experiment, and my crane won't. My crane, you know why? Because the crane got to be upright, just like Foucault's pendulum. As the machine will be faulty, it'll risk the doggone operator's life. It'll tilt all kind of stuff. It's the same. Let's chat GPT this. Let me see something. Let's just for one
let's go.
reason. Let's just say, chat GPT. Let me say, can I use my daddy's crane? Yeah, you know, I watched the whole AI tutorial a week ago, and the lady's pretty good at prompting chat GPT. She said you basically prompted exact in ways like what I'm doing now. She was giving a lot of tips.
That's how I asked my questions.
Right, so can I use my dad? Chat GPT don't know if my daddy got a crane yard or not. We just trying to get the answer. So, right, can I use my daddy's crane yard, right, to prove what Foucault was trying to prove with his pendulum?
Why can't you just ask? Can I use the crane?
Hold on, bro. How you gonna tell me how y'all scary as hell? Y'all hear this shit, bro? Listen, listen what I'm telling you, bro. Let me tell you so, bro. You're not gonna be able to. He mad because he know that it's gonna say, yeah, y'all. He mad. Let me put him in timeout. This the same motherfucker that told me to use a paintbrush. Now he mad that we using a crane. Which one better, y'all? Let's ask ChatGPT. You can absolutely attempt to replicate the basic idea behind Foucault's pendulum using a crane yard, but there are several challenges and important factors you need to account for. See, ChatGPT is more reasonable. Now it says here, Foucault pendulum was designed to demonstrate the Earth rotation as the pendulum swings freely over many hours. The plane of, right, so guess what we can do then? We can find a way to do this on an electronic level. You feel me? So now, instead of me pushing them, and this proves something, there must be some kind of electricity in Foucault's pendulum, or is it not? But the whole thing about the chat GPT bringing up the point that it got to swing for hours, right? Here's the thing. Here go a miniature Foucault pendulum that we can buy from Amazon as a science project, and they don't say, you know, it got to swing for hours. That's all I'm saying. You know, because let me show you how this works, right? If I walk up to this pendulum and push it, it'll stop before it can even prove that the earth turned a little bit. So my whole thing is this right here. You can't even prove this with the Foucault pendulum that they give us in science classes that I got on the right. So if they try to say, well, your crane pendulum can't prove it because it ain't going long enough, can we be fair and say, well, Foucault's pendulum can't either from a single push of a human hand because that push ain't gonna keep it going long enough, and ain't no electricity in this thing, is it? Should we look that up? Let's see.
Yep, that's exactly what it says right here.
Yeah, it uses a motor.
Right, so my whole thing is this right here. Once you introduce the motor, which I knew that was gonna be the answer. I knew it was gonna be some motor involved. Once you introduce that, I'm gonna show you what's gonna happen. Here go all of the factors. The motor is also responsible for making it, rotate. And can't nobody say, well, no, the motor just giving it just enough energy to keep it going and the rest is the earth. Well, now the truth is, can we debunk Foucault pendulum itself? How would we be able to do it? I can get a device that's electrically powered, just like he did. And we can see, the thing is, whether it's electrically powered, this ain't an obstacle. It just means more money a nigga gonna have to spend. So now I'm gonna have to get these small motors that can at least run off a battery for like an hour. And all they need to do, let me see, you know what'll be a dope way to do this? If they blew out wind, like a fan, and if I make sure they're aligned with a ruler, it's all pointed in a line, and when I hit the button, they blow out a little stream of air that's gonna push this little lightweight ball. It's gonna keep it going, back and forth with a little push of air, boom, boom, boom. That may be too. Either way, we can do this, is what I'm saying. And all it needs to do it for is an hour. But this needs to be done independently of Foucault, just so we can see if his pendulum is faulty in any way. I think that's fair. I think the people that is using Foucault pendulum to prove that the earth is rotating, part of science is doing stuff yourself. So there should be no reason why we in 2025 and we still counting on people's experiments from hundreds and thousands of years ago, thousands and hundreds of years ago. We should be reduplicating them in modern time to re-solidify it, and that's what I'm gonna do. And if a globe earther got a problem with it, the question is, why ain't you doing this? You should be saying, look, bro, if you got a problem with Foucault pendulum, you can do it yourself. That's what science about, y'all.
Hey, can I say something real quick?
So that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
Hey, from what I hear, when the Foucault pendulum experiment was done, it was supposed to process like 15 degrees an hour, but it actually only processed 11. So instead of taking 24 hours to do the whole thing, it took like over 30 hours. So it already just was debunked within itself upon the attempt.
Another thing, Sanchez, is like I used to do construction. Those cranes are designed to stabilize the load, so it reduces movement. So that's why you see two cables down and that middle pendulum, that middle part, and the cable coming down off that hook. So it won't swing side to side, and it's on rails up top. So that's to stabilize that load it's moving so that it don't swing. So the crane is not exactly a good one, a good example, but because it's designed to stabilize the load. So they got riggers and stuff, and that's how everything comes down straight. So you couldn't really use a crane because it won't keep swinging. If that thing starts swinging, then it tips over.
Yeah, that's what we were just saying, that the whole problem with the crane is what I was pointing out earlier, that the crane is facing the same limitations of Foucault pendulum itself. You know what I'm saying? The smaller. Well, the problem is you gotta introduce some motor or something like that with this experiment. So I have no problem trying to reduplicate.
Well, you have to start the pendulum. In my opinion,
right? I get
it. If the Earth is moving, you don't have to start the pendulum. Just set it up.
Well,
and
well,
the
let me
Earth
tell you
itself
why.
shows movement.
I'm gonna tell you why you do right. Still, on a globe Earth is 1,000 miles per hour.
Yeah, yeah, that part.
So you
Standing
got to
still is
now,
1,000 miles
yeah.
an hour.
So that's the whole thing. Why they said they got to push it more than what the air around it is going, because the atmosphere around this pendulum is going 1,000 miles per hour according to them. So you got to push it, give it a little push, like 1,000 miles and 1 mile per hour, whatever you want to do, whatever little, and then we can start. You see what I'm saying? But they're saying that eventually it'll settle back with the natural flow of the atmosphere and all that. Now this is a bunch of fucking foolishness, by the way. But it's just so to hear myself explain their model. It's like how can anyone eat this up, bro? It's crazy.
I
Hey, but
suggest you
Sanchez,
drink.
you definitely are onto something because I've been listening to you. Like, I had the GPT pulled up, and you basically said it word for word. So I'm gonna read it for you, like word for word. So it says the Coriolis effect does not prove the Earth's rotation. While it's often used to demonstrate the Earth's rotation, it doesn't prove it in the sense of directly observing the rotation itself. Instead, it's an apparent deflection of moving objects like air and water caused by observing them from a rotating frame or of reference, which in this case is the Earth's surface. This is why it's not a direct proof, because of relative motion. The Coriolis effect arises from the difference in linear velocity at different latitudes due to the Earth's rotation. As objects move over the rotating surface, they maintain their initial eastward velocity, causing them to appear to deflect relative to the faster or slowing moving ground below. Observing from a rotating frame, from the perspective of someone rotating with the Earth, the path of a moving object appears curved. However, an observer is in interior reference frame, one that is not rotating, and they would see the object traveling in a straight line. Also, there's no physical force. The Coriolis effect isn't caused by a physical force acting on the object. Instead, it's an inertial force or apparent force that arises from the perspective of being within a rotating frame or reference. The Foucault's pendulum rotates with the Earth, yes or no? No, because no force is acting to change the direction of the swing. Now the ChatGPT said it more technically, but basically said the same thing you were saying. You would have said more had you kept critically thinking, but it's the same thing.
I
Salutes,
suggest
much
you three
love. Hell
pendulums,
yeah.
one for the control, one for the independent
Hell
variable,
yeah.
and one for the dependent variable.
Listen, guys, we with a 20 to 30 feet cable, we can reduplicate this. Now, I'm willing to say forget all of the little cranes. I ain't gonna lie. I doubt it's probably so many regulations, but that'll be dope if you can kind of get like a big crane and swing that mug for like an hour, huge bob at the end of it, and watch it. I bet you it'll go the same direction, dog. I bet you it is. I'm telling you, why hasn't no one ever tried to reduplicate Foucault pendulum? That itself is fishy to me.
They do it all the time. Texas A&M University has one. Like I don't get that.
No, what I'm telling you is what I'm saying right now. What I'm telling you is this right here. All of their pendulums is designed just like Foucault's. My whole thing is people are saying, what if Foucault pendulum is causing the precession itself? How would we prove that? Somebody would say, bro, you can make your own pendulum. It ain't that much to it. If you can get anything suspended above ground for an hour, you can see this happen. It don't have to just be Foucault pendulum, Sanchez. That's the point.
Okay,
So
I'm cool with that.
the purpose of Foucault pendulum is to say that anything you suspend over a rotating atmosphere would do this, not just his pendulum. Because if his pendulum the only thing doing this, then it don't mimic reality, and reality debunks his pendulum. So
Like we
that's
can
all I'm
hang
saying.
you from a seat like a swing. You can sit on the seat and we can push you, and you will do the same pattern.
That'll probably be real bad. That'll be bad for your health, right there. I don't know if a human could survive that.
Yeah, you could. I mean, we get on
Because
roller coasters.
think about this though. You got
get
to
on
be.
rocket.
Listen to what I'm saying. You got to be rocking left from right for an hour. Now, depending on how long you want to rock, that's how far back you got to pull the pendulum before you let it go. So think about a person getting pulled back so damn far that they head is facing they hair hanging down, like they fucking ears is facing the ground. The whole side of their face, and you finna let them go, right? Now listen, they're suspended 30 feet up in the sky. You about to let them go, and they about to swing out for an hour. I don't know if that'll be good for you. I don't know if that, but that's interesting to think of. That's fun to think about.
The top of the pendulum has to be 30 feet. The cable has to be 30 feet.
I would say this right. I would say this right. In order for you to properly reduplicate this, the ball has to weigh just as long as the rope is. It's some science to this. So if you want the ball to swing for an hour, you got to add more weight to it, and you got to pull it back farther. Are y'all getting what I'm saying?
It works the same way that the modern
Listen.
works.
It's fucking simple. Listen what I'm saying. If I got a damn tennis ball at the end of this thing, it's gonna settle very quickly in less than an hour. The longer I want my pendulum to swing, the heavier the ball needs to be, and the longer the string needs to be suspended. Are y'all ain't getting that?
There you go. You got. I'm with you, bro.
I'm with you. I was just.
Yes.
And so listen, with that being said, you can't put a human at the end of this thing because we won't weigh enough. You need a big ass bob at the end of this that weigh probably a couple. I would at least say hundreds of pounds. What you would say to reduplicate it? Way more than a human weight.
A bowling ball, or
it has to be like a liquid.
If you scale the cable, it could be a rope. It don't have to be a certain type of material. It could be a lightweight rope.
But it ain't gonna swing for an hour because it's too light though. The wind resistance will slow it down quicker. The heavier the object, the least resistance that it'll slow down quicker, meaning we can swing longer. Yeah, Google it, do the math behind it. You'll see what I'm saying. Weight matters here. What I'm telling you, bro, weight matters. Weight really matters.
Wait, I have a question on what you just said, because if you ain't out in the atmosphere, if you need a building, how's that a legit experiment if you ain't in the atmosphere?
What do you mean?
Well, you said that you would need a building around it. You know what I'm saying? It would have to be.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay, because you said wind would affect it and all of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're dealing with the rotation of the atmosphere. We want the doggone atmosphere to affect it in this case, because that's what's going to give us this pattern.
Exactly, the control, indoor, outdoor.
Hey, brother.
No, do it indoors.
And the whole thing is, indoor, outdoor wouldn't matter, because you can't go inside of a house and escape the earth rotation, people.
Yeah, but if you put it in the equation, the wind, then you gotta use
no. Here's the thing, brother. Here's the thing, brother. The reason I said we need to add more weight to this experiment is to cancel out wind resistance. Is that going over your head? That mean that if I got a light ass paper ball at the end of my rope, then I'm gonna have to worry about the wind, even though it ain't even blowing. The wind ain't even got to be blowing that hard if I got a little paper ball. So what I'm saying is, it really don't matter about wind resistance once you introduce weight, which is why when people tearing down a building with the ball and chain, they don't say, well, the wind might push back on our ball. They get a heavy enough ball that they know it's just the wind resistance ain't gonna matter. Like, I can't believe y'all guys. come on, man,
No,
guys. We
bro
gotta.
Sanchez, I got you,
I'm just
but
talking about the
I
no,
know
there's
you
gonna
do,
be
so I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the
no.
people that
I'm
don't got me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's gonna be somebody. People are crazy. There's gonna be somebody that says, "Oh, you did it outside, so the wind pushed it." And
That's
no,
why I'm talking about the
take that out of the
control.
equation and do it inside. I'm all for this, but yes, that's it.
Okay.
Supreme, listen.
Brother
There
Sanchez,
is an
I found a
experiment.
model
You
online. So how you were trying to do it, can I put the link in the chat? Someone replicated it with 3D model.
Guys, in the experiment, you need an independent variable, a dependent variable, and a control for this exact reason, because they will object against wind, water, indoor, outdoor, and in that case, you use a control to verify that there is no relevant,
you know what's crazy?
variant.
It's crazy that you would have to alter your experiment based upon what people gonna say. But I will tell you that when you go inside, you still ain't escaping the outside. I get what you saying about the wind resistance, but I'm saying, what's the difference of me doing it outside on a day where it ain't windy? So that's all I'm saying. It wouldn't matter long as I'm creating a situation where there's no wind. But my whole thing is, we just need to reduplicate Foucault's pendulum for ourselves, in my opinion, instead of just relying on this mechanism that they give us. I think proper science is to say, okay, Foucault's pendulum, right? If it proved that the earth rotate, now let's show everyone how to make their own Foucault's pendulum to prove it for themselves independently of Foucault. See what I'm doing? I'm going to the next level. I'm saying I'm about to make the Sanchez pendulum so I can prove to myself, because if I'm saying that it's some trickery behind Foucault's pendulum, that's cool. What'll be wrong is for me to say that and not make my own pendulum to prove that. So I ain't just saying that. I'm saying I'm gonna go to the next mile and I'm gonna prove it.
I like it. I like that.
But I'm tired of feeling like I'm kind of being repetitive. Somebody else get the mic.
Look,
Go ahead.
Sanchez and everybody, a pendulum is just mass seeking equilibrium. That's all it is. In the same way, you could do even a pendulum on the water, but it has to be outside of, the current of the sea and so on. You could do it anywhere, as long as you know the balance, how it works, and you don't alter the medium. Like in the sea, you cannot do it in the sea because of the waves, but it all matters only as long as you know how it works, the mechanism, how it works.
Yeah,
And obviously, this one is orchestrated. This one is a mechanism that is altered. It is not the original pendulum. They probably have water inside, and it works like the modern ships that has water inside, so it balances with the waves of the sea, and it doesn't sink. That's probably how it works.
What I miss, y'all?
let's just let him get to the experiment. He'll figure it out. They've got smart people in here. They'll figure it out.
Oh man, listen, I'm excited about this one because I only need an hour worth energy. I'm gonna reduplicate this experiment for sure, though. I swear. And you know what's crazy? Let me ask y'all something real quick until I do that though. There's these little things that I be seeing on people desks. They like these little silver balls. I forgot the name of it, but they be swinging for hours based
it's
upon
like a Newton's cradle. Newton's cradle.
Let me see. What are those things called?
I think
them knockers. Remember knockers back in the day where they just they knock the one on the end, comes out, and it comes back.
It's called a grandfather clock, isn't it?
No,
here you go. I
cradle.
found it. Here it is. He right. It's a Newton cradle. I couldn't think of the name off back. Now, if I'm not mistaken, some of these can go for at least an hour of swinging. But the question I would ask y'all, should we see some form of precession with these? I don't think this is a dumb question because it's like a pendulum. It's in its own right. would these process, would it be based upon the way it's designed that they wouldn't? Or would it be based upon what factors? Let's just open up the dialogue to speak of these and bring this into this equation for the argument.
No, I don't think that those are processed because they're tied on two sides. You need the weight needs to be free.
True. Not so okay, we'll cancel this one out to try to make another argument for it. I'm just trying to spice stuff up, you know, and bring new factors into play until we can do the thing. But yeah.
I like what we're doing though, man. Talking about
like the old school Chinese
yeah.
clackers. We used to clack them Chinese things, the toys together that clack back and forth.
That's considered kinetic energy, right?
Sanchez, have you seen the wheel made of bottles of water that it never stops spinning because it has the right balance of water? That could help you develop the experiment.
Oh.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm really excited. Hey, look, this joint here, I just got to really find I can't bite off more than I can chew. This can be very simple, I'm sure. I just got to think it through, but it's on for sure. Man, can't I buy like a couple of small plumb bobs and find a way to put a motor on them joints or something? Like, I don't know. I'm gonna find something out.
And then just a suggestion, like to get the ball rolling, to say you can just tie a string to it and then have a lighter and just burn the string, and then it'll just be freely moving to get it going. Just a suggestion.
But yeah, let's go to we can shift the narrative. There's other, let me see. What about since we got new people on, does anybody want to address these two arguments here about drifting clouds and smoke plumes? Or do I need to relay those arguments so y'all can see what we talking about?
Yeah,
well, I know if the atmosphere is moving, and at the same time, then how is the clouds moving independent of the ground?
It's weather. It's just weather. So
no, hold on a second. Let me ask a question. This let's go to a screen share real quick. Can't say just weather, because all weather happens within the atmosphere, dog.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my thing is, if a cloud is moving within the lower atmosphere, bringing rain over my house, and I say, look, that rain cloud just passed me, and I can see down the street that it's raining on them people. And y'all know what I'm talking about. You ever been in a city and you see this gray cloud with rain and you drove under it, but it's sunny and it ain't raining. Once you get from under it, it's that one little spot.
All the time.
Well, that's all I'm saying, bro. So this happens all the time. You've seen this cloud, even a rain cloud over your house, and the weatherman will say the rain cloud has passed your house. Wait a minute, how the hell the rain cloud passed my house if the ground and the upper atmosphere sync together and the weather happens in the upper atmosphere?
They call it scattered showers.
Yeah, so I gotta, and this will get to my point, but for all the flat earthers and how does weather work on the flat earth model?
Before you do that, tell me, see, this is what's gonna go down. You answer mine and I answer yours. I'm talking about how is cloud, I'm not a weatherman. See, I know how storms work, because there's pressure in the atmosphere. What I don't know, how you can have pressure in a system that ain't enclosed, which is your damn globe model. So it's because if you want to ask me how weather work on a flat earth, I'm finna start asking you how I work on a globe earth, because we both yet to explain how I work on our models. You ain't a weatherman and I'm not, but I bet you I can make weather work on mine, and better than you can make it work on your model. But we ain't gonna let you change the argument before you tell me why these clouds passing my house by, when your models show that the clouds and the ground is doing the same thing. What I would like you to say is, Sanchez, the animations that they show us in science ain't necessarily 100% accurate, and they can't even do that. That's a out that I'm giving them. They don't even see it.
No, I got you. I'll explain it. Well, to get to the point, it's the uneven heating of the earth. That's what causes weather. The earth rotates.
I didn't ask you what caused weather, brother. Listen what I'm telling you.
You just did.
No. I told you you need to, this is what I need you to do, brother. Listen, comprehension. Check it out, right? I said we're going to do that argument later. First, you ain't going to just ignore my argument about drifting clouds. How you just want to change it to weather? I told you we can do that. But why are you scared to deal with this first one? That ain't fair to me. You ain't deal with my argument first. You see what I'm doing? Please don't make me explain this too much, brother. Let's talk about the drifting clouds, and we'll go to weather itself.
Well,
and how that's
formed. I said the clouds are drifting because of weather. So, in order for me to explain my point, I have to talk about weather.
But that ain't.
That's my point.
Listen, what I'm telling you. Listen, what I'm telling you. Though. I hear your point. It don't answer my question. It just say what you want to say, and in a classroom you would fail. The question was, why are the clouds drifting past my house? If the clouds are moving within the atmosphere that's moving at 1,000 miles per hour plus whatever the clouds are doing when they're giving us weather, right? I'm saying, how the hell are they passing me by if my house is synced to the same atmosphere where all of this is occurring? So I ain't talking about a storm or a tornado. I'm just talking about cloud. For example, right, on a globe model, they say if you have a still cloud in the sky, it's still moving, it's hovering above your house, because a flat earther may say, look, if I jump, why do I land in the same spot, right? If the earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. Cool. A person may say, why does the helicopter hovering or the hot air balloon, or why is that cloud in the same spot all day if the ground beneath it is turning? The answer that we are told is that the sky and the ground are synced together. You can even chat GPT that one. I'm basically debating chat GPT and a physicist channel. And like I said at the beginning of this whole stream, most of the globalists are going to try to change what's taught about their model as we go through the debate and start making up their own stuff. We're not making, you can't say I don't know what they teach about the earth, how weather work and all that. Weather is still accounting for the 1,000 miles per hour from west to east that the atmosphere is doing, even though it can be its own local phenomena if that storm is, like I said. Basically what they're saying is, for the most part, the atmosphere is settled and pristine, so most of the clouds in the sky are synced with the atmosphere, and they ain't really moving at a speed fast enough to basically outdo the current of this 1,000 miles per hour. So they give us this animation. But what they say is that when weather occur, that's when tornadoes, hurricanes, and clouds can kind of do their own thing, because it's like me. If I'm in a river going 1,000 miles per hour, but I'm not doing nothing, then I'm gonna be carried with the flow of the river. But but once I start swimming against the current or whatever to go the opposite way, it's gonna be a battle of how fast can I go versus what the current pushing me. So I can move forward, but I will have to go forward more momentum than 1,000 miles per hour that's working against me. So that's the basic concept, that weather is basically so violent that it supersedes. So when we say that an airplane that's going 500 miles per hour is really doing 1,500 miles per hour in reality on a cosmic scale. And what we're saying is that storm that you saying, where that cloud that's moving that 500, 600 miles per hour, because the storm is moving fast, according to the weatherman, is moving at 1,600 miles per hour in reality. You always got to account for what the atmosphere is doing. In other words, just because the storm can exceed the 1,000 miles per hour don't mean we can't account for the 1,000 miles per hour. Globalists get confused with that.
Yeah, no, so it's It's all one system, the Earth system.
Right.
But the reason why the clouds are moving is because you hit on it early on, is because high pressure is trying to go to low pressure. That's how straws work. We all know this. Okay, so
Right.
it's weather. The pressure is caused by the weather, and that's the uneven heating of the Earth because the Earth rotates.
Now listen, let me explain something to you. These different pressures that you talking about isn't proof at all of the Earth rotation, and I'm gonna show you how they
That's
actually.
why I asked,
Hold on, brother. We about to get there, but you missing why I even brought up the clouds drifting. It had nothing to do with how weather work. It had something to do with why clouds pass if they're synced with the atmosphere. Y'all see the trickery that he doing? Like the question about weather was, why did the storm pass me by? Why did the weatherman say that storm just passed your house? If the atmosphere is moving at 1,000 miles per hour, how can the storm outrun what the atmosphere is doing? It wasn't a matter of me not knowing how weather worked. That's another argument. You trying to rush to that argument because you see that this first argument about drifting clouds really debunks Earth rotation. Well, since you ready to go to that argument so fast, I'm going to give you a break, man. I know this is probably frustrating you about what I'm showing you with your model's animation, so I'm gonna leave you alone. Let's go ahead, go to the how weather work on a flat Earth model, how this disproves your model. So check this
with
out.
your hands behind your back now, Sanchez.
You say what, Redden? My bad.
I said you giving them an out, so now you putting your hands behind your back and using one hand.
No, what I'm saying is this right here.
Hold
on, real quick. Let me say this. What I'm saying is this, Retton. Everybody can clearly see he's scared of this drifting clouds argument, and he's ready so quick to get to how weather working for us to be meteorologists. I ain't scared of that because I can totally explain that too. But I don't want to keep on pressuring him, because I can see he's trying to make it like I'm scared to debate about weather when really he's scared to admit I got him on this first argument about drifting clouds. You get what I'm saying, Rick?
Exactly.
No, don't put, you don't know what's going on in my mind.
No, but I got the right to speculate and have my theory on what I think about you, and it ain't nothing you gonna say to change that, so let's just move on with it.
Very true.
Right. It ain't nothing you gonna say gonna change that theory, so let's just move on. Yeah.
So I'll talk about the clouds, man.
So first of all, you just explained how weather work on a globe, and I think you was asking me, so how does weather work on your model? I'm ready to explain it now, if you don't mind.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll mute the mic.
Cool. One of my favorite weather events, man, is sprites. Out of all weather events, this is when a storm gets so violent. First of all, I want to explain what sprites are. This is when a storm gets so violent that it creates these blue jets. And when these blue jets get to a certain threshold or let's say pressure threshold, a red sprite will form at the top of the blue jet. I'm going to show you other examples as well. Let me see, so you can, before I even go deep, I hope y'all don't mind me taking my time with this panel. Do y'all mind?
Do your thing, Bubba.
All right, cool. We don't want to rush this, right? We don't want to rush this kind of stuff. So look, here is red sprites forming on top of blue jets. So if you research this phenomena, it happens, the red sprite take place in the upper atmosphere. You cannot have a red sprite in the lower atmosphere, and you cannot have a red sprite without a blue jet. So if you can see right here in the image that I'm showing, all red sprites in the upper atmosphere are born off of a blue jet right here in the lower atmosphere. Very interesting. This is fascinating, by the way. But let me show you something real quick, right? You can't have this effect that we see if the Earth wasn't enclosed. Now, hear me out, right? Let me show you how a plasma ball works. If you break a plasma ball, you can't have, let me show you something. Watch this. Y'all know I ain't working no office job, so my typing ain't like some of y'all women out there. But let me pull this up. Here's what happened if you break a plasma ball. I don't want to make this up now. This from a science channel, and for some reason they don't know what happened if you break a plasma ball. So let me teach it. Before I do that, let me do a mic check because I don't think we still live. Anybody on the panel can hear me? Hold on.
Yeah, we can hear you,
We hear
bro.
you perfectly well.
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you.
Okay, cool. So check it out, right? Watch this, guys. I'm gonna mute him because I don't want no strike. You can see, can y'all see the plasma ball with the little, look, y'all can see it. There you go. Watch what happened. When you break it, it no longer light up no more. You know why? It's just like neon lighting in Las Vegas. These gases in the upper atmosphere need to be enclosed so that they can build up enough pressure to release these strikes, just like lightning. It's the buildup of pressure, then boom, it's an explosion. These sprites that are formed in the upper atmosphere, they are only formed when the pressure, because if the pressure is only at a certain level, you only get a blue jet. But once the energy heat up, then a red sprite form on top of the blue jet. But I'm gonna show you another way to look at it, right? Just like this is a strike, right? You got this. When you strike your lighter, just like a lightning strike, right? You get this same sort of concept just to show you on a small level. Hold on, man. So, we'll use this. So if you look at the lighter flame, you can see like the blue, that would be like your blue jet, and this would be your red sprite. You can see how these gases start making these layers. You can see these similar phenomena with lightning strikes. You have lightning strikes, all the same concept. But hold on, let me explain what's going on here. Is pressure, enough friction of these different, invisible. It's like plate tectonics in the sky, different wind fronts rubbing against. You can look at it like that too. You can look at it like a buildup of pressure in the clouds at a certain epicenter. It released like a pus bump, boom. But however you want to look at it, the point is this. This is like neon light, and if you break the tube in Las Vegas, when you see these pretty lights, if you break the tube, you stop the light, just like we just saw it when he broke the plasma ball. So Earth, what I'm saying is, if you want to talk about how weather works, let's talk about a specific type of weather that is a mystery to modern science. Why did I choose this form of weather? Because I wanted to point out something that their side really gonna have problems explaining, how you can have this kind of pressurized gas phenomena if there's no enclosure to create the pressure. So think about this right here, right? Just like a plasma ball, let's go back to it. These red sprites and blue jets are what we call plasma ball filaments. In other words, what is science based on, y'all? Science is based upon Sanchez being able to reduplicate what he see outside on a smaller scale. But when I do that, guess what the globe earthers say? Man, that's a plasma ball and that's the sky outside. And I'm like, yeah, we're trying to reduplicate it. That's what science is all about. When you really science with them, they do just the opposite. So now check this out. Why are these plasma ball film? And we know that lightning is a plasma event. If you don't know that, go educate yourself. So check this out. Just like this plasma ball, you can see the blue jets and the red sprites. Now, just like red sprites, they only happen in the upper atmosphere. That's like saying that a flower only blossom at the top of the stem. You can look at this like a tree trunk and the tree branches coming out at the top is a doggone, the red Sprite is like the tree branches, and the blue jet is like the tree trunk. And you see how it started expanding out like a flower. So look at the plasma ball concept, just like flowers, you know, a lotus flower. So the whole concept is that you have these blue jets that when the pressure builds up in the upper atmosphere, those blue jets transform into red sprites. And this is why you will never see a red sprite in the lower atmosphere. And guess what? If I break this plasma ball, all this stuff will disappear because it's based upon pressure. It's just like neon lighting. Guess what? You don't have no enclosure on a globe model. Let's go back to it, because here go the flat earth model, which resembles what? A plasma ball. Look at it. You see, science based upon, I'm reduplicating my model on a small scale and showing you the science of how the atmosphere works. Now, mind you, I'm on a Globe Earth Science channel, and the experiment is what will happen if you break a plasma ball. Keep in mind, every flat earther already could have told him what was going to happen before he broke it, because we know that how the atmosphere works. The people who try to debate us on how the atmosphere works, they don't know what'll happen if you break a plasma ball. But we telling them that the plasma events that's happening in the atmosphere can only happen if we're enclosed, and they doing experiments to prove what we saying, but they doing them based upon their own ignorance of what they don't know, what we already know. So he ready to break a ball to see what's gonna happen. I could have told him, bro, when you break it, the filaments ain't gonna be created because it's based on pressure. How are you a science channel?
Red shift, blue shift.
Right. I'm waiting on the globalists. Now I want you to tell me how sprites form on your model without an enclosure. I did my thing. Your turn. Come on, man. Don't keep us waiting. Go ahead.
Well, sprites. To be honest with you, this is the first time on your live right now that I've ever heard of these sprites. So I got to look into it and get back to you.
Oh, whoa.
2-0, 30. A 30
Whoa.
oh, Ask you how weather works. Oh, shit.
Whoa. Hold on.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute, bro. So you was so cocky a minute ago, like you wanted to have
Y'all are funny.
Wait. No, bro. No, you're funny. You're funny. I'm gonna tell you why. My fucking presentation humbled the hell out of him, didn't it, y'all? Is it just me?
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
Damn.
Is it just me?
Go.
I'm like, who the hell is this? Who the
This
hell
we was
is this?
rushing to? I
Like,
thought we was rushing to
who the hell is this
Put
guy
me
talking
down.
on the mic?
Put
Who
me
is
down.
this guy, y'all? Who
sent
is
you?
this guy? Like, this is a
That's
whole
what y'all
nother.
got. Put me down.
Bro, no, I'm just saying, you so humble
Peace and
right
love,
now.
y'all.
No. I'm just saying, bro, your energy is so gentle right now. Is it just me? Can y'all feel it in the chat room? But that just got to point that out. No sweat to you. I like that. It's all good.
Salute to you for admitting that you don't know it. That was, I got to give you that one.
But how was he gonna
That's the
debate
start of
me?
knowledge.
But Retton, watch this. How was he so cocky and ready to debate me if he didn't know it? Because I can tell him how weather work on his globe model. See, that's what I'm telling you. I can tell
Hey,
you
how
right.
does a
Hold
sprite-
on.
How do sprites cause rain?
Hold on. Listen, bro. No, once again.
Don't kill yourself now. Stop
You
talking.
just said now you was gonna do your research and get back with us. I'm gonna tell you, you better use that. Go with your first mind. Go with your first mind, because you about
Well,
to really.
you studied
Stay
this.
down.
Can you
Stay
tell
down.
me?
Don't get up
Can
now.
you
Stay
tell me?
down.
Because my
Stay
question
down.
Guess
was,
what?
how does
Guess
weather
what?
work? All of weather.
I got you.
On
I
a
just
flat Earth.
okay. So guess what, bro? Now you moving the goalpost. Cause check this out, bro.
Bro,
I'm gonna tell you
I'll
why
mute.
you moving the goalpost. When somebody say, "Tell me how weather work on your model," and I start telling them how weather work. Weather is a general term which encompasses hurricanes, sprites, tornadoes, thunderstorms, right? I chose one. Ain't no way I can tell you how all of them work at the same time. I'm gotta do one weather event at a time on my model. Ain't that fair, panel?
That's
Correct.
fair.
So my thing is this: if I'm starting off with red sprites and I show you how they work on my model, and then show you how it won't work on your model, then say, now show me how this will work on your model, prove me wrong, and you say, well, I can't, I'm gonna have to get back to you. You lost the debate, bro. Well, you just at the moment you can't. Well, do it then. At the moment you can't. Right. At the moment you can't, but at the moment I can. I don't gotta wait is what I'm saying. I'm ready right now. You showed up. You the one initiated this debate and you ain't ready. That's what I'm saying.
Answered my question.
Bro, I did just answer your question. I just told you how weather work. Think about this.
That's you told me how sprites work.
Right. Is that not weather? Is that not weather? Let me get him out of here. You don't even know what sprites is. Let me explain something to him, y'all. To say, show me how weather work is a dumbass question. You gotta say what type of weather. That's like think about how general the term is. How weather work. That's like you're asking me how earthquakes, tornadoes, everything work at one time. I got to go one at a time. Don't the panel agree that you just can't say how weather work and get one vague answer? We got to start going through. Right, we got to go through all of the weather events, right or wrong, y'all.
That's right.
Well, hold on. I just got to make a point real quick. I just need to get y'all so I can make my point. I started off with a weather event. I started off with a weather event that I can explain on my model that he can't. And he even said, I'm going to have to get back with you. Guess what I told him, bro? I will teach to you now how sprites work on your globe model, and he started getting in his feelings because he realized what I'm doing. Now I got to teach your ass how weather work on your model when you tried to debate me. And I keep doing that to him. That's why I tell him, quit trying to debate me, man. Because while I debate you and debunk your shit, I'm gonna have to teach you about it too. It ain't like I was asking him how sprites work on my model. I was asking him, now explain to me how sprites work on your model, and he don't even know, which is why he wanna say, I said, tell me how weather work, instead of saying, you got me, you lost. You know, I came to debate about weather. You pointing out a weather event that I don't know about, that you know much about. I just proved that we can't have sprites on a globe model. The earth got to be enclosed with a firmament dome, and he don't like it. And I just got to put that on the record, y'all. It's important. It got to be in history for years when they rewind this to see that these people are cult-minded and that they are disingenuous, dishonest. You can't trust them. Y'all thought he was being real, talking about I'm gonna get back with you, you know, and all that. He tried to debate me on weather. I didn't do that to him. He was running from the drifting clouds argument. So I said, okay, I'm gonna let him run on that one. Let me go spank his ass on the weather now. And when I do it, in each of these debates, I'm not just proving my model. I'm doing it in a way where I'm gonna have to teach them something about their model they don't know. Tell me I ain't that nigga. Because I made up, I'm just telling you, bro, you may call it cocky, but guess what? I'm tired of these dudes. They think a nigga dumb. So what I got to show them, not only do I know my model and I'm gonna mop the floor with your ass on it, I'm gonna prove you don't even know your own damn model, which is why he said, I don't know how sprites work on my model. How did Sanchez know that? How are these niggas so predictable?
They don't do any research.
Remember the Red Bull rocket? Remember
yeah, go ahead.
The Red Bull rocket?
Yeah, you got it.
Well, that was physical proof, because didn't it stop? It was going up and it stopped.
Yeah,
what physically stopped it?
Go ahead, go ahead, man. Go ahead. My bad.
So yeah, the way I see it is like the globe you were showing before spin. The whole globe was spinning, and you was making that the atmospheric argument. Why don't we ever see that in real time? You know, that was a CGI globe.
What you mean motion? You talking about motion blur?
No, not motion. Well,
You should see motion blur if it's moving. You should see motion blur, right? If I wave my hand in front of you, you will see motion blur.
well, see, my point is, if you start from the ground, from the launch pad with cameras, like that Red Bull experiment, and take off from the ground, you see the platform, you see the city, you see the state, you see the continent, and then you see the world. You see what I'm saying? Continuous footage.
Let me ask you a question. Do you
Has
know what
that
the
ever
common
been
line
done?
is? Do you know what
The
the
what?
common line is?
The common line or
Yeah, you know
comma?
the common line. Do you know what that is?
No, enlighten me.
The common line is the line where they say is low Earth orbit. That's the farthest they go. They don't go past that. So they can't go past the common line to say what you're saying, how they see the whole continent. They're
So
just going
then
in low Earth orbit. They're not leaving Earth.
this image right here, how do you get this image right here without a composite of just taking, mapping and creating this, through maps to only a certain distance away? But if you were, say, on the moon landing, you would be seeing this spin from almost this distance, but the Earth would be 4 times the size of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's your
So
point, brother?
my point is, it's the Occam's razor. If you can't look at this image and not have it be CGI, you'd have a real image, and you'd have a real footage of the world spinning.
You mean a still shot?
No, not a still shot. You'd be filming it. If they actually went to the moon, they would be filming the world spinning
I think he's
from the moon.
making the point that they didn't go to space. Like, Brother Sanchez, that's the reason why he started out with the Sprite argument, because it's like, why debate everything else if we can't determine that there's something enclosing us in? So he's trying to get to step one. Like, we're enclosed in. Let's start there. Because how can we talk about the weather if we don't think we're closed in or not? And now he's saying that usually that's an illusion. You see this boundary where you would go to the so-called space in between the earth and the so-called space. But he's saying they probably went to some kind of area up high, but they didn't leave that feminine. They didn't leave that space. They went somewhere, but they just went in that common line. They just went in that area, but they didn't leave that area, because you can't do that. And Brother Sanchez is proving that you can't do that, because most of the earth is full of gases. And if you don't have an enclosure, you don't have those gases. The whole thing doesn't work when you start breaking down the little pieces.
But according to them, they never leave low orbit. They just tell you straight to your face, we never left or low orbit or cross the Van Allen, belt. They just lying it straight to your face, and they tell you first we didn't, then we didn't do it. That's what they do.
Yeah,
But
On
what they
top of
told you
America
was
being
that
the only country to claim to put a man on the moon, no other country has ever claimed that besides America. I wonder why.
exactly. And actually, I went ahead and asked the AI about what Brother Sanchez was talking about with the clouds. And it says, in a flat earth model, the clouds are thought to move due to the sun's position and wind. The sun being relatively close to the earth's surface in this model will be seen as moving, and this movement affects how the clouds appear to be positioned. Additionally, wind, which is a primary factor in cloud movement in the real world, is believed to be a key driver of cloud movement in the flat earth model. And then when it comes to the pressure, atmosphere as a container, flat earthers have a model that they believe the atmosphere is a contained bubble, possibly with an ice wall or something around the edges that holds the air in. They suggest that the sheer weight of this contained atmosphere compress the air, creating the high pressure at lower altitudes and decreasing pressure at higher altitudes. With the cloud formation, as air rises, in this flat earth model, it experiences decreasing pressure and expands. This expansion causes the air to cool, leading to the condensation of water vapor into the clouds when the temperature reaches the dew point. The source of the pressure would be the weight of the contained atmosphere within the flat earth. The pressure gradient would be the air pressure as it decreases with altitude because there's less air pressing down from above. And the cloud formation would be rising air that cools due to expansion in the lower pressure at higher altitudes, causing water vapor to condense and form clouds. So it's like if you have the flat earth model and the globe earth model, like I said, everybody will kind of begin similarly and they'll end at the same place. Like it ends in the weather, but everything in between is where it's not adding up. But the reason why you can't debate them is because of the sprites. They don't even believe that we're contained in.
Right. And then guess what? Here go another thing just to double down. Thank you for reading that. Hold on a second, man. You gonna just cut me off like that?
Thanks for coming to get me.
Oh. Just to double down on what you're saying, sister. And I thank you for reading that, right? They do teach that they're not enclosed, but once we bring this argument up, they will try to act like we are enclosed, right? And they won't show us what their enclosure are. Some of them say where the Earth electromagnetic energy field. Well, check this out. Now that shifts the debate into how a rock with water on it can generate a torus field, and then you lose that one. So check this one out. Let's just say this. You see how they double talk, right? They know they're not enclosed, right? Which is why they say the gravitational pull of the Earth is what keeps the atmosphere from not flying off into space. But when you bring up sprites, they try to bring up that now they got a damn firmament dome now. When they be saying that the clouds won't fly off because the Earth pulling on them. Like, this is crazy.
Sounds so crazy.
Man, but it's a religion at this point. Yeah,
to my point about the footage, has anybody seen footage continuous from the ground to low Earth orbit? Just show me one launch with continuous footage from the ground to the space station. Just one.
And also, Brother Sanchez, another way that I look at things too, because I started out in the medical sciences, so I didn't start out in the pure sciences. And how I started to realize a connection, because I was thinking everything inside of our bodies operate the same as concepts that we know in science. So just like in your body, you have houses everywhere, like your oxygen molecules are being housed in the red blood cells. Your brain is being housed in the skull. Why would everything, even the rib cage, is housing the heart? Why does everything have a house? We even have a house. As humans, we live in a house. So why wouldn't there be another house, a bigger house? There's always a bigger concept to the smaller micro concept. So why wouldn't the Earth have a house, which would be the firmament? And we're not saying there's not a globe Earth. There's a globe Earth, but the part they're calling globe is fictitious. You're just trying to summarize it from your vantage point, what you think it looks like a globe. You're trying to make like the globe like matter, like globe. The what's making it look like a globe is like matter. It doesn't exist, but they're trying to make like the matter part like a real thing, a real object, like a real globe. When we're saying no, it's flat, and then there's what's below and what's above, and then a firmament, a house protecting it all. And it may seem like a globe in the way they're saying, but it's like it is, but it's not exactly how they're saying. Like both are trying to say the same thing, but they're stopping at a certain point. And then once you get to that point, like Brother Sanchez was proving, they don't have the argument. Well, what about the sprites? That's what we're saying. And you don't know all the way how the so-called scientific particles work. Like when you look up stuff on the periodic table, what you think is an atom could be a solid. A solid doesn't have to be something big like your house. It could be microscopic and still be a solid. So how is that possible? You know, like the air, it doesn't feel like something solid in the air, but something solid in the air. And then you go all the way up to the enclosure. Like what is there that's creating that? Because our skull, we know what the skull is made out of, what's keeping the brain in there. So what's the firmament made out of? That's a good debate to have. If they can tell us what's up there in that line before you leave Earth and you get to the space, what is that? Because
you asking
they don't
the globe?
really know.
Yeah, you know what? They don't have nothing there. They just say gravity keeps everything stuck in their model, even the gases. So, but once these gases start creating certain events that can only be created based upon a pressure system, see, because gravity explains why the clouds don't fly off into space, but gravity don't explain how you can have pressurized phenomena without an enclosure. See, gravity can explain why your gas don't fly off everywhere without an enclosure, because gravity pulling on everything equally all around from the core, creating an atmospherical shape of the gases all around your model. But okay, let's just say we give you that. Now, if you saying, okay, you can have gases without an enclosure, can you have sprites without an enclosure? I just proved you can't. And then I did him so dirty, I called, and I knew he didn't even know how sprites work on his globe model, but I do. And I was getting ready to ridicule him in a polite way just to show him to humble down, like quit trying to debate folks when they trying to give you, I was being nice to him. But so he wanted the weather debate, and I made him say, and I said, okay, bro, your turn now to explain how sprites work on your globe model. And he said, you know what, Sanchez, I got to get back with you, man. I'm going to cut that out and make his ass a poster.
Hey, you know what? The only way you can recreate a cloud is in a closed system with a frozen metal top, like something really frozen. You have to put something very cold over an enclosed system, and that's how you recreate clouds on a micro level. That's the only way you can recreate clouds. And they're closed, and the top has to be freezing cold. Just like how it get cold the higher up you go. Macro.
Sanchez, they used to have the ozone layer, but you and I know that was fear mongering from the 2000s. So it's basically a copyright from the firmament, you know that.
So, and let me just show y'all some real quick, right? Inside of this plasma ball are different layers of pressure. The closer you is to the core of the ball, I think it's the more pressurized it get, or the less. But my whole thing is this: where the blue becomes red at only represents a pressure change. So when the ancestors talking about different layers of the atmosphere, there are more plasma events that are taking place in higher layers of the atmosphere that are just like this plasma ball on greater scales and all that. Some of what they call exploding stars, imploding stars. This is the same kind of plasma phenomena we see on this layer. And you can even study the stars and see they all on different layers and stuff. So, like, and what I'm saying is that they can't explain what this debunk is space. What this prove is that our atmosphere extends upward. It extends into what they call space. You know, like that's why you'll see the Egyptian god Nut, for example, with the stars in her back, because let's pull that up. Because with the Egyptian goddess Nut, right? What they saying, like, ain't no space right here, because those stars that we see in the backdrop, the last layer of stars are fixed, meaning throughout the ages, those don't move. They don't, circuit like the other ones. So you got fit stars and non-fit ones. But at the same time, Nut represent the whole concept of what the sky is. I know that there are fit stars and non-fit stars, but you know, Shu is spinning her around, and as he spin her around, she's creating this time lapse sort of image. Let me see. So if you can think of if you're Shu, if you're the god Shu, you right up on the Polaris, you're at the North Pole, and you tossing Nut up and down like a pizza, like someone tossing a pizza. They gonna be tossing it up and down. That up and down is going through the seasons. As we go through the seasons and the sun rises up and down, going from summer to winter, is also going in a circle. It's like tossing a pizza. But from Shu's perspective, Shu would see this. Shu would see this as he stand there and turn her around. And so the Egyptians were spot on. But the whole thing about all of this, man, is like the predictable, because this is another argument that they let us get away with, panel, that we didn't get time to really get on before we got into all that. And that one was this. Let me pull up this right here. Hold on. Because it may seem like I'm all over the place, but I'm about to show y'all why I brought this up. Here we go right here. So what the globalists still won't prove to us flat earthers, Occam's razor, right? Both of us agree that the universe started from a Big Bang. They say that there was a random explosion of random pieces of matter, and you can see it on the right. Let's zoom in. Now let's use Occam's razor. Flat earthers are saying the earth is created. It's some advanced technology behind the earth, similar to a Tesla car, okay? And now if you look at the nature of the heavens in the sky, they make perfect 360 patterns, and the sun and moon is perfect 360 circles. How do you get perfect 360 anything if you drop a vase on the ground? That's the question you gotta ask, right? I got a vase in my hand, boom, it breaks. And everything formed the patterns that we see on the left, y'all. But you see what I'm saying? And they just ran from this one too. They ran from this one so quick, I forgot about it.
Yeah, they ran from that one because that one, that's statistically impossible. And that
Like you're gonna get a beautiful house after a storm, after a hurricane, a beautiful house get built.
Yeah, all this order out of chaos, facts. And then not to mention that everything falling away from where it exploded at, but as it's falling in perfect 360-degree concentric circles away from the center star, which is Polaris, would be the Big Bang, the epicenter.
You know what I was just thinking? It's only circular to Earth too. What if you was on Mars? Would it look that circular?
You wouldn't be on Mars because it ain't solid. But the point is this, they teach that all of those stars are doing elliptical orbits, but we observe perfect circles. That's another one. So this is like what I call a double dagger. A double dagger, because not only is it stupid to think that you're going to get this much perfection from that chaos, but also the dagger in your model that says these things are doing elliptical orbits, but yet we observe in perfect 360s too. That's a double dagger. So they got to have two models. They got to have an elliptical orbit model and a perfect circle model. For one to show what should exist on a globe model, and one to show what does exist in reality.
So what about that pendulum? Like, is that
What about it? What about
is
it?
it going to make circles or is it going to be elliptical? Like,
well, guess what? We're going to see what happens when I do the experiment, and I'm going to upload it. But until then, I'm going to keep beating them up on, and then we ain't got to prophesy. See, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with that pendulum, Reek. It's just going to do what the hell it want to do. And it's going to prove that the earth ain't rotating at all. I can bet my money on it.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure you have a few of them moving at the same time, Sanchez. Don't forget that part.
I am, and I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna try to do this one before July. You know, before the end of this month. I'm finna get started thinking this one through on a real, you know how to do this. Chat GPT could tell me how to do it.
I just had a thought, Sanchez. And you know how we looked at space and we saw the concentric circles all the way around, looking at the sky.
There you go. There you go.
What? Yeah, right there. Now, what if we got concentric domes spreading out, spreading out, spreading out? Like we got our dome, and then there's another one that's wider than ours. So space really on our plane is going out.
That's why it's called an atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, yeah, atmosphere, but that sphere is not, it's a
That's the dome.
containment. No, the sphere is a containment. What I'm saying is, like, you're looking at the center of a dome, but then also we have our dome over our, area
We
around
got
Show the map,
us.
Sanchez.
domes
But then
within
there's
domes. Yeah.
Yeah, show me your
within
map, Sanchez,
domes,
and the
and
other
then it
lands
keeps
outside, and the circular
other lands,
concentric
yeah,
circles.
yeah, and other lands outside our circle that just
Right.
keep going out
Right.
from north,
It's
south,
as
east, west,
above,
but
so
going
below.
out, not up. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that. So there are other domes that start outside our dome
Bring
So-
that picture
so-
back up right quick.
I
that are
got you,
larger.
and let me just go ahead and show you each perspective, so you can then make your point and stuff from all perspectives. This ain't gonna take but I swear a minute, because all I'm doing is giving you the visual data you gonna need to make whatever point you about to make. That's all I'm doing right now. So here go the top down perspective. And then here is the bottom up perspective of what's happening in the sky. And basically, it's like as above, so below. We can see more of the sky than the ground. I think some of those concentric circles extend beyond our plane. And the Mayans set their calendar up like this. Like, if you look up in the sky, right, to my understanding, all of these ain't necessarily spinning in the same direction. Some of these concentric circles are spinning clockwise, some counterclockwise. So I can't necessarily say you can. My whole thing is this right here. Either these arrows that we showing represent what the water is doing or what the sky would do as we expand further, because they got them staggered as far as how they rotating, which is why I'm pulling this up. But we ain't got to go into that. I just want to show you that the sky to ground. But look, here's another way to look at it from the side view too. And then we can take it from here. Here go the side view. So if we were standing on the side of it, it'll look like this. And then, like I said, top down, bottom up.
Would it be safe to say, bring the other picture back up? Would it be, no, not that one, other one. Would it be safe to say in the middle of that circle, that's like 24 hours, and then the other one times, every circle get bigger so the days be longer?
Yeah,
each
48 and boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
and see,
yeah.
And like exponentially to where 24, 48, then what 48 plus 48, then and then exponentially, yeah. And
Bro,
so
that's
what
the word I was just thinking about.
That's the universal, because like when I went to sleep, I had a dream that I dang on, like
walk
Sanchez said,
down
he
to
walked
the
to the stove.
stove
And you was
and
asleep for 8 hours in the bed.
right.
But it only been 5 minutes in the dream. Like you went to
Yeah.
like the universe parallel, like.
Yeah, you see, and that's that. And listen, Retton, remember, when you bring this up, globalists will call it pseudo, right? But they teach the same thing about the solar system, that the further out you go, time is slower, like a year on Saturn would take. You see what I'm saying? They got the same basic concept, but it make more sense on our model, which is why they got here.
So do you think that all the planes are on one plane, or like how the Norse mythology have it, right? When we on one plane and we have like this dimension. So when you go to Asgard, is it like up, like the locusts, you going up a plane? Each plane is stacked on top of each other, and it's like up and in and down and out.
Yeah, so down and out, up and in and up, down and out, right? So another way to look at it is when the Bible say be upright, and we say, what do we say, man, he down bad. So when you talk about up, down, heaven, and hell, it's crazy because down, you know, it's like left loosey, right tight, and which way you turn the screw to dictate whether it go up or down. And so
universal.
Yeah, so yeah, you got it.
It's like a universal law, right?
And so this is what's going on right here. Let's pull this fountain up. We're basically looking at a step pyramid from a top-down view when I show you this right here. Because the closer you go to the realms in the middle, they're elevated above those rings outside. It's a big stairway to heaven. And when you get to the most middle, highest peak in the middle, you get beamed the fuck out. But see,
that
what's
was a great way to put it. That was
right.
Great. That fountain is deep. That fountain looked just like that old picture you had with the mountain, with the tree in the middle and the water's going up.
Yeah.
It looked the same. I didn't think about it like that. That was dope. That's dope, Santa, the fountain.
When you're talking about those layers, that's what I'm saying, because you have the micro things that happen in the body, so it has to happen large scale. So nothing in the body is done alone. Like if something is used for one thing, it has to have something helping it. So I wouldn't think the earth would just be floating around. Something has to be keeping it right there. And with your fountain model, it shows you there's different layers keeping it in place.
Right.
Whether those layers are actual physical things, like how you can feel a desk, it's physical like that, or whether it's like matter and it's accumulation of something.
Well, yeah. According to the ancients, they didn't have a concept of physicality. This is a holographic simulation according to them. So nothing can keep a physical form. Everything just come here and fade in and out because you're just a flash of light. They call it photosynthesis, right? But basically everything is a projection of their own soul, which is pure light. And when the soul releases that light, it creates the body as a result. That's called holography. Like that's why God said, let there be light before he said anything else, because you need something to create with. And God, there was nothing. There was no wood, water, trees. So what got everything started? And the light explains the mystery of the universe, that nothing is physical. We're in a holographic simulation, and physicality is an illusion of us feeling things that appear to be solid around us. But that's what creates the illusion of physicality. Like if I put you in a computer program called life, a simulation, when you get inside of the holographic reality within the computer, yes, the concrete would be hard, the roses would smell good, the ice cream would be cold, but at the end of the day, you're plugged into a simulation, just like in the Matrix, according to the ancestor. Ain't nothing real about it. It's just a algorithmic construct, a database, zeros and ones, all of that. But the whole thing is this right here, right? This is the technical part of this simulation I want to get us to. If you look at what I'm showing right here, let's talk about how it's all a quantum computer. It's resembling a quantum computer too. You know what I'm saying? So if you look at what the Hindu, like I can pull up this little, people say he always say what the ancestors said, but yeah, that's true. That's what they said. But we can all speak about this whole, concept here. I think that we kind of getting off track from the earth span joint, but this is, kind of ties into what the atmosphere doing, but it's going a little deeper. But this is another way I look at the earth right here as one of these. This is what the original step pyramid mean. And I ain't gonna hog the mic. Y'all can
that looked like that local the Vedic picture too. The Vedic thing looked just like that.
Right.
Yeah, because I think with the stepping stone situation, that's is more logical than trying to explain the ball earth, because when you have the round earth, first thing I'm already confused about when I'm thinking about it is like the continents. Because it's like when we were younger and they first started this crap with the ball earth, they used to tell us like the continents were the protection. Like they tried to make it seem like that was an outside. But now it's like you're saying the continents are bending, which we're trying to figure that out too, how it's bending. And then it's like you're saying the clouds are over that, and then what's over that? So you're saying, are you saying that the atoms are just grouping together like this? Nothing stopping the atoms from dispersing, even though we have a body that contains things. So it doesn't make sense, because what's making the continents bend like that, and what's keeping it like that? That's what they can't tell us too. Because
So
when
is
you
it?
have a stepping stone model, you don't need a bend. It just makes sense. Everything's flat, but it's stepping up together.
And they also say it's more water than land on their model as well.
Yeah. So yeah, y'all cooking, man. And the brother
Yeah, the
got so
surface,
mad that
yeah.
he couldn't swim. Listen, I'm gonna drop the link for any globalists that want to debate sprites. I see now something that y'all can't really refute, like another one of those. And I'm gonna really keep bringing that up. I know y'all wanna, but I see now I found something that got them though, like that they really, like real talk. But
He
check
thought he
this
had
look.
you, Sanchez. He was like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
let's go to the
man.
weather. Come on, let's go to the. Why
Yeah,
you keep talking about weather? I'm gonna get there, but let's talk about this. No,
yeah.
you running from the weather. Okay, so let's talk about the weather. Now you
Yeah.
talking about? Oh, I never heard of that before.
I'm gonna
Wow.
have to go research, man. You know, I admit. So that's my thing.
But
Like, yeah, that, guess what
that's an
people gonna
atmospheric
realize?
event.
That I don't be bluffing. They gonna realize, look, man, I'm trying to do this in a respectful way. I can really embarrass you, so chill out, you know? And they get
I
in their
told
feelings and stuff.
I told him you was being fair when you put your hands behind your back because you was like, you know what? Let's go to your argument then. Since you want to get to this argument so bad, let's go to that part. And you
Yeah.
killed him in his own argument.
And you know what's crazy? They realize eventually there's nowhere I can go and be safe with this guy. And they just get frustrated.
That's a fact. That's a
Oh,
very fact.
you make me think of something now, Brother Sanchez, because Starlink, the Elon Musk satellites. I was thinking about that because I saw some outside my home the other day. And how come the Elon Musk satellites operate so well in our atmosphere, but the real good satellites are so far in space somewhere? So it's like it's not adding up. If we can have the satellites here, then why do we need to go to space? And then another thing that's not adding up is like the whole reason why would be the motive to go to space, because you never do anything that really benefits us. So it's like the only reason why you're claiming you went into space is so you can control the narrative. If you say you
Appreciate
went
it.
there and you saw XYZ, now we can't debate you because we didn't go there. But what Brother Sanchez is saying, the ancestors had none of this technology and they came to the same conclusion we're coming to. And we did have the pictures of the so-called space. We did have the telescope. We're using our modern technology and we're using our critical thinking, but we're still coming to the same conclusion as the
Oh, yeah.
ancestors.
Because it's the truth is gonna always be the truth. And let me say this, man. Big salutes to Marlon. Thank you, Marlon, for always being you always 1 of 10 on the goal. I appreciate the love and the continued support. We drop a bomb for that. And salutes to Adam McMahon as well, man. Flat Power. And Adam Geringer, if you listening, did I see him in the chat? Hop on. We finna drop the link for some more globalists. Shout out to the chat room, Charlie D. Allen. Shout out to Barry Ball Burrell. It's sad how people who know a lot yet lie to even their family. It's getting perilously divisive and trying to make knowledge obsolete. Caesarean folks inventing lies daily. Tragic. Bro, that is well said. Real talk. Shout out to you, Barry, and appreciate you, Hydrogen as well. Appreciate the love to you, man, for the super chat. And let me say shout out to the new members. Hold on, Oliver Robinson, Paul Wolfrain, And Rumham Solo gifted a membership. Appreciate the love, Rumham, as always, man. That's love. Yeah. So, and look, shout out to Astro 40K. I see you. He said, Massa, my bad, NASA ain't picking up Rob phone calls. He getting nervous.
That was a good one. That pickle juice was killing me. That was crazy.
But he always be the one started though. Like, bro, you want to start getting like disrespectful? I ain't gonna get disrespectful. I'm gonna get comedic and roast you.
Man, well, I was just trolling them with the
Man, I didn't knew I was with the mic on. My apologies. I was shaving myself.
Listen, y'all, Rob, everywhere I go, right, he pop up in the chat room saying Sanchez is a fraud, a grifter. He's trying to follow me on Facebook and stuff. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, Rob is a real stalker of mine. I ain't making this up. You know what I'm saying? So it may seem like it's just like a little flat earth debate. No, bro really hate me, and he really
he really a fan of you, to be honest with you.
He fucking bro on some weirdo stuff.
A stan, my bad.
It's about vantage point. It's about vantage point. It's about vantage point. Like, oh my God, saying the same thing.
Man, it's like a parrot.
You just don't understand the concept. You just don't understand the concept.
Look at that bottle right there. Like the stuff like this, it may seem simple, but if the earth was really moving, the little boy wouldn't even be able to do this with the bottle. But guess what they gonna say, man? And here's why I put this video up. They gonna say that the earth is only moving 1,000 miles per hour. Like, you know, they gonna hit you with the perspective. They gonna say, look, the RPM, the rotations per minute, you know what I'm saying? It's actually slow because the earth is so big, so the cup gonna drop back in the same spot every time. So let me show you how you can reduplicate the pendulum experiment in another way to prove it's the earth rotating or not. You can create an experiment where you're not only just hovering some from over the ground and pushing it like the Foucault pendulum, but you kind of dribbling it like a basketball, and you should be able to see if the earth's spinning that way too, like a sewing needle, kind of going up and down. So if they saying, well, now think about how crazy this is too, right? They will tell you, Sanchez, that bottle dropped back right there in the same spot where it was dropped at because the earth ain't spinning that fast, you know, and all that. They'll give you the RPM thing. But remember, Neil deGrasse Tyson dropped the microphone and he said, well, that's gravity, right? Now, my whole thing is this right here. If we want to drop stuff all of a sudden, the hell with gravity and talking about what put the bottle down to the earth. Let's talk about why it dropped to the same spot. Now, the reason I brought up Occam's razor with this argument, because remember, if we don't feel the earth moving because of the RPM, then we can't even prove that it's rotating. If everybody say on earth that the earth ain't moving, somebody come along and say it is moving, you just can't prove it because it's moving so slow, then that's a belief system. That ain't the scientific method. Think about that now, because they always try to make the burden of proof on us. I didn't point that out, you know, like prove that the earth ain't moving. No, bro, we don't feel it moving, we don't perceive it moving, and y'all admit that. Y'all say the earth is moving, but you'll never be able to tell, you'll never be able to observe it moving. So how we gonna do the scientific method? They didn't want to deal with that conversation either.
15 times 24 is 360. So I don't get it. What I don't understand is, if the Earth's circumference is 24,000 miles, how come Eurasia is 2,400 miles lesser than that? That just don't make sense to me. If the Earth is 24,000 miles of circumference, and Eurasia, which is Asia and Europe, is 21,600, miles in
Damn.
circumference.
Damn,
That's
that's
only
the whole Earth.
2,400 miles less than where the other country, the other continents is way bigger than that. So
You know what? Hey, bro, and did they deal with that though at all?
no, they ran
Like,
from that. They ran straight from that. We didn't even talk about that because they said Africa is supposed to be the biggest country, right? Continent, I mean, correct. And
right.
it's 10 times bigger on the map, so it's supposedly say. But if you telling me Eurasia is 2,400 miles less than the Earth, where is the other continents gonna fit at on that Earth, on that small Earth? I don't get that.
On the bottom of it?
Period. How you mean
In
about it? Don't
Australia,
matter where it's at. Let's do the math. Math
Yeah.
ain't gonna
There
lie.
wouldn't be no space left.
The whole circumference of the Earth is 24,009.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? That's the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah,
circumference of the Earth.
it's 24,000 at the equator. Up 24,000. You can
Okay.
just say 24,000.
Exactly.
Miles. Yeah.
So if Eurasia is 2,400 miles less than that, only 2,400 miles. That's not.
Right.
That's not even from the East Coast to the West Coast. It's more than that. That's more miles from the East Coast to West Coast. So how?
exactly.
Don't forget about the oceans. Don't forget about the oceans.
That's what I'm saying. How can you fit anything else on that if Eurasia is almost taking up the whole circumference?
And
That lets you know that's bull.
Australia
And
is actually the
It's
same
crazy.
size of Africa, basically.
Is that not a good argument, Sanchez?
Man,
Yeah,
listen,
yeah.
that is one of those arguments that's irrecoverable. It'll be one of those ones where he will have to shift to something else. You know, when you bring up stuff like that, then they say, but what about what? Let's talk about hot weather. Then they gonna keep running. And then when they see, well, damn, they gonna kill me on everything, then they create some sort of chaos to get their ass up out of there.
He
Policies.
came like a lawyer. If it don't fit, man, you need to quit. If it don't
because
fit.
go further with what he's saying. And then keep in mind they're saying we're not enclosed in. And you know how stuff works. So are you saying all the elements, all the so-called atoms and elements from the
On the
atmosphere
outside, right,
don't
sister?
invade
Right.
our atmosphere?
Good call, sister.
Yep.
That's right.
Straight
Good
up
call.
slaughter today.
All of that?
Yeah.
We killing these people.
Yeah.
Sanchez, what's going on?
And everybody got daggers too, like irrecoverable daggers, man. Like, and you know what? I'm gonna tell y'all how we killing them. It ain't because it's simple how everybody on this panel is beating up and spanking up on the globe. And you know why? Look at the first step in this method. Observation. It don't say believe what the physicists say and regurgitate it. So when we make these observations, they say, damn, I never observed that before. Right, dude, we was all going with what we've been told. Welcome to the red pill.
Exactly.
And something I picked up on too is like within our body, we're not allowed to control something that's detrimental. So like my body will let me move my arm, but it won't let me like control my lungs, control my heart. Because if I had to control that, it'd be detrimental. That made me think of space. Why would there be a person or an entity that creates this system so that space is dangerous, but we can actually access it? I think if space was as dangerous as they make it seem, then our universe or whatever wouldn't let us go there because it's too dangerous. If we got into playing around in space and putting satellites and all of that, we would throw something off because that stuff is not supposed to be up there. So that I don't think they went. Because you can't just access every single realm on this earth or like within your body or within like a cell. Like you can do a lot of things, but then there's a lot of things you can't do.
You know it don't make no sense though.
Uh-huh.
Real quick, you know how they always say, people be like, well, if the sun is in space, how come space is pitch black dark? And they'd be like, well, I can answer it easy. It's no atmosphere. And I'm like, that's the answer. Like, what? That don't even make sense.
They said
Yeah,
that the
that
way
part.
they said, listen, they said that basically since space don't have a atmosphere, there's none for the light. Like they saying light need a medium, right, to propagate. Like water waves move through water, they're saying light waves move through a medium, but since space is void of any medium, because you know them dummies deny the ether, right? They said that light, just imagine shining a flashlight in your room in the dark, and where the flashlight starting at to where it hit on a wall in between all that is dark as hell. but it's still a circle on the wall.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like 93 million. So the light flashing from 93 million miles away, but it's a blank
Oh,
spot from the 93 million
you know
miles
what
away.
that puts,
You know why?
son?
Because they saying that
Sanchez, what
even
you
though
just said?
they saying real quick, they saying that the sun rays, since there's no medium in space, there's nothing to reflect those rays until they actually hit Earth atmosphere where you got, you know, an atmosphere to reflect the light. That's bull crap. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that
Go ahead,
puts
Marlon.
the sun inside the atmosphere. That would make the sun, you know, be part of the atmosphere as well as the moon.
We know the sun inside the atmosphere because of how we use a local light source with hot spots and percussional rays. I can get a light source and put it to a wall and then put like a cup over it and it'll make percussional rays a local light object. You can't, if I get a light from far away, I can't do that. I can't recreate that. So I just don't
Well,
get how
that's
the
why.
light just traveling from 93 million miles, but then disappearing and reappear when it get to a prism. So that means the Earth is closed then.
Yeah, that made me think too. If they said we're spinning so fast, then how come I can see the sun so clearly? Like I don't see any blur, I don't see anything. It doesn't look like something's spinning and something's blurry up there. With what
And don't forget, the CIA says that the sun and the moon are two-dimensional discs in the sky. I look at the moon every day in the broad daylight, the moon be in the sky all the time. I can see a star through the moon all the time. I can see the blue sky through the moon, and I can see the black night sky through the moon, which makes it seem like it's a transparent plasma.
And you know
Look, I'm
what's
gonna say
crazy?
something
What
about the sun. All right,
what's
go ahead.
Hey, shout out to Ironwork. He said, bro, Sanchez, hit me up ASAP. I'm live. Oh, okay.
What you about to say, Sanchez?
Ironwork send a message to my email right now, and I'm gonna check it and let me know what's good. If you want to do a dual stream or however you want to connect the worlds, what you got going? Let's talk about it. For sure. Hey, appreciate the love, man. Let me mod you up. Make sure y'all sub up to the brother. He's always got his foot on the globe's neck.
What you was about to say was crazy, Sanchez, if you could remember?
Oh, yeah, man. See what I was saying about what people think, man, you know, when we make a lot of good arguments like what we've been doing tonight, beating up on the globe, you'll often hear some people say, well, man, y'all don't know everything. They'll say, well, you don't understand physics. They will do everything but come up with their intelligent arguments to combat it. It's like a cop-out every time. It's so crazy, man. But the thing about observe, if you don't observe, you can't even question. So they don't ask questions because they ain't looking around, but they ain't looking around because their indoctrination said we already know everything, but they'll tell you already know everything. But see, it's just the opposite. We don't know shit. We've been lied to. And the people who like to say y'all think y'all know everything, they say that to protect what they don't know, their ignorance, to protect their indoctrination most of the time, everything backwards. Now, Nostradamus called this the law of inversion. Now, I do kind of want to go deep, you know, about the psychology of these globalists, man. It's a prophesied psychology. Real talk.
It's like I can finish their sentences because they always say crazy stuff like, if the moon is round and the sun is round, why is the earth flat? And it's like nobody live on the moon or the sun. What are you talking about? But they always use this dumb argument. Like, why do they say that? Like that's something, like that's some type of dagger or something. Why do they say
You
that?
guys were talking about the light. It made me
It's
think of
facts.
that time Brother Sanchez was talking about that video in Asia where they had the two suns. And then it made me think, if we're enclosed in, could that second sun have been a reflection of the original sun, proving that we're closed in?
It is. It's refracted. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we all see our own sun on our meridian or our arc of horizon from our zenith. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like we looking at the same. We all looking at our own sun being projected from how our eyes work, and when we viewing at something. So it's like the sun is at the center of the vortex, refracting off the HD screen or whatever, the sky, which is the screen, the HD screen. So you see a sun, but it's all from that one source, and then it's refracting or reflecting, making a bunch of suns.
Yep. Which is like how Brother Sanchez was talking about the flashlight, and you get all those light bubbles. But this is also
The disco ball would be a
yep.
good thing for that. The Sanchez do that disco ball. That'd be a good way to use that one. That
Think
disco ball.
about think about the distance of the sun, 93 million miles away, according to them. And now look at this. If we turn, we make a spin every day, and when you look through a telescope to the sun in the twilight hour, you will see that the sun is decreasing its size a little bit, not a huge amount of decrease, but it is shrinking, and that will be impossible in the heliocentric model because it is 93 million miles away, and we only move a little bit, and not even in the straight direction to the sun, but only in circle navigation towards the sun, allegedly. But still, it makes no sense. The sun shouldn't shrink. It should just be covered by the Earth's, mountains. That's all it should do, nothing else. And it's shrinking. If you look through the telescope, it shrinks. It shouldn't do that because it is 93 million miles away. It is impossible.
And the sun and moon makes it look like the same size, which when you see an eclipse, when you look at the eclipse, but they're saying the moon is 70 miles in diameter, but the sun is 20 Earths. It's so big. But how come an eclipse looks so perfect then?
They will tell you it's a coincidence. Right.
And then, they always say, like, with logic,
Daggers.
one of the evidence how you know something exists is that it does exist. So it's like the fact that we all come from different walks of life and we all thinking like this, that's evidence. Why are we all thinking like this? It's not that we just go against the ball earth and we have different theories. Like, we all come to the same conclusion because we're making sense. If it wasn't making sense, we wouldn't be coming to the same conclusion.
Look at this, doctor. Let's go by the old-fashioned way. Let's say that a liar comes to you and tells you, I got a Ferrari, but I cannot show you the Ferrari. It's in my house. And he tells you that every day. In the same way, the ballers come and tell you, oh, no, you cannot verify it, but you got to believe me because, NASA and X, Y, and Z is the same liar.
Like a con man. They're con artists because every time you make, even if it's something small, like that's just like with the P. Diddy case, it's the same thing.
Exactly.
You come up with any little type of evidence, they have the excuse already ready. It's just like the Christians. If you have any argument, they already have the strong man to get you. And you can't even be debating all of these people in the first place because they don't want to believe basic logic in the first place.
Appeal to authority. It's just fallacies. Somebody said that they have money. They have I don't know, a lab coat. He's a scientist because he got a lab coat, and it was basically fallacies, just assumptions.
It's not just me saying this. Like, I have done work with a lot of people, like MDs, all kind of scientists, all type of people. There are MDs quitting the profession because they're so disgusted with like basic science. Like, they know the surgeries they're being forced to do are not working. Like, you can heal yourself with just like eating a fruit, just eating healthy, just existing, just breathing in the oxygen. So even the MDs are noticing, the scientists are getting frustrated because this is how they do. They house everybody into these houses. That's the reason why you have universities, hospitals. When you finish school, they trick you. Because I already knew coming in, I wasn't going to work for them. Like, I'm not stupid enough to go back into that mindset. So once you go and work at these organizations, now you're being censored. If you go outside what they're telling you, it could be malpractice. You could be laughed at. Oh, you're going to lose your job. Like, all type of consequences for you going against their so-called evidence. And the system is all together. Like, you go to school, which has to be accredited. So that's the government. And then they can only teach things that are evidence-based. And the evidence comes from where? The government. And then when you go out and work, you're only allowed to say what they taught you, which was the evidence, which was them. Everything always loops back to them. But if you try
Right.
to speak on your own, that's a problem. And then with the globe earth, they already have the evidence that the government gave us. So they're already trapped into one mindset. And every time we tell them, just like you think we're trapped in one mindset, that's what we're telling you. You're trapped in that mindset too, because you don't want to break down each little thing. Like you got to take it back to the atom and break down each little lie that they told you. And like something's happening, something's adding up, because otherwise the science wouldn't make sense to us. But it's the reasoning behind it. Like we're almost saying the same thing, but it's the reasoning. The same way they don't like it when we say, "Oh, that was God." That's the same way we don't like it when we giving you a point and then you say that's gravity. That's the same thing as saying it's God. Because you're making up a way to go against the laws. Or like
And
if
you
there's
know
a
how
miracle that happens, they call it an anomaly. When it's like, no, that means that your laws are a lie.
Like the eclipse that's coming in this month. It's an eclipse coming up.
and you know
And
what's
it,
crazy? No, you know how they got different names for God? It can be gravity, relativity. They God go by many names. It can be what's the other one word answers, one worded fucking. Hey, shout out to you, Adam Geringer, and yeah, shout out to the panel, man, to everybody on the panel, to the chat. Yeah,
They
but they
also have
got
helium. I mean
they got
Helios.
all of these
because you
one
don't
worded.
understand. You don't understand.
Oh, and also science said it. You know, that's what science says. And you know, just like Christians, when you try to prove to them that certain things is wrong with their stuff, what do they do to fight back with you? They refer right back to the Bible with the crit. And like I said, I use the Bible, but I don't believe it. I'm a knower. That's a Gnostic. See, Christianity is something new. Those are the people that's associating the Bible with NASA, the serpent. That's the synagogue of Satan. Those are church members. Boom, boom, boom. We are going back like well, they have to deny that the Bible is a flat earth book. You know another thing that they do that make me mad? They say, show me the ancestors that believed in a flat earth. When they own damn scientists say ancient people believed in a flat earth, but we later debunked that, you know, and all that. These people, right? Because in a lot of these spaces, they have their little hotep identity. These Christians like to glorify the ancient Hebrew people. See, they built all of these religions off of glorifying ancient people. And you know our people like to identify with like ancient cultures, but they still like to go with the globe model. Now, the people who created the globe model would tell them, hey, all of those ancient cultures that y'all glorifying, they believed in a flat earth and they knew more about the stars than us. And now guess what? These people, when they debating us, they will have to say, listen, the Egyptians didn't believe in no flat earth like the brother did earlier. He was trying to make it like Eratosthenes is a damn ancient Egyptian. The reaches that you see. I'm talking about my guy tried to make this Johnny come lately Ptolemaic era. Dude, two stick having, really, you measured 24,000 miles with two sticks believing, boy, the Occam's razor will slice through the globe on any day because they got to believe a bunch of stupidity.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like in the early 40s and 50s when they taught flat Earth in school? Cause it's a viral video of an older lady.
Yeah.
And it was like, what did they teach y'all
Yep.
in school? She was like, the Earth was flat, and she's like
Yep.
Yeah, that's
90 years
they
old.
always they were
She's a
teaching it
90-year-old lady.
when I was
That's
young, so
facts.
they were still teaching it.
That is
Sanchez, why
facts.
you are
So why do
you
they act like
you could barely
they
hear
never
me.
teach that though, Sanchez? And they clearly taught it in school, and they just bypass it every time you bring it up. You
You
be
know
like, did they
why?
teach?
You know
Go ahead,
why?
why they?
Because here go the problem, Retton. Most people today, just like Sanchez, they are in love with the ancestors. Now, that's something from both sides. If you talk to a globalist or a flat earther, the globalist is fascinated with the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Hebrews, just like the flat earther. So when Sanchez say, okay, who's more in alignment with the ancestors, right? Versus who just dressing like them. who see reality through their lenses, not the globe earther. And when you show them that they ain't spiritually connected to the ancients, when they got that doggone Hebrew costume on, that Hotep costume on, acting like an Egyptian, when you show me how Nut and Geb is a solar system. You know, they see, and they can't tell the truth like the people in power, right? The people in power will say, listen, the ancients did believe in the flat earth and they didn't know what they was talking about. See, all of these regular people, Retton, they already been making grifts by putting the ancestors on pedestals. The ancestors wise, the ancestors knew this and knew that. And I'm gonna say, look, the ancestors knew the earth flat too. So when they already make it like the ancestors knew everything, once I say the ancestors knew the earth was flat too, they got to say the ancestors been teach, they gotta make the globe ancient now.
Yeah.
And they'll say ancient aliens instead of ancient ancestors. I don't like when they do that either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fact.
I have to agree with you, Brother Sanchez, because what I think happened, just like we have seasons, we went through time periods where like everyone was trying to figure it out. So I think like there's a difference between the biblical days and the days where we had like the Einstein. So I think what's happening, like whatever time period was going on biblically, like everybody was saying the same thing, but when the disciples or those people couldn't figure out what was going on scientifically, they started to insert little things. And what you're saying matches the Bible when it's like, hey, don't think you know everything. That's your ego. Don't think you know everything. Just when you thought you was judging that person over there, that's a person I'm going to use because you don't know what's really going on. And then when it was the Einstein time period, these people were less spiritual. They were more so like, let's really figure out what's going on. Like none of this voodoo luku stuff. I want to know what's going on. And so like both were onto something because like in the biblical times, they were thinking about energy, thinking about the body, thinking about how to be a good person. And science was like, well, there has to be something more to this. So let's look into it. Let's not just create things. And now we're in modern times where it's like we've done it both ways. We've made up gods and then we've looked into it. Let's bring it together because everybody's saying the same thing, but then we're hitting a wall. And that's where everybody's starting to make up stuff. And you can't do that. And the flat earthers are more like, we're hitting the wall too, but we're just not trying to make up stuff. Let's try to work it out and figure this thing out.
The thing about the globe earthers, they agree that every globe earther agree on everything about their model. Flat earthers say we only agree that all of us agree that the earth flat, but there may be other flat earthers that may say different stuff about the sky or this or that, right? So we don't have to be held to the burden that they held to because we don't make the claim they make. They say basically if everybody that go to a globe earth school is taught the same thing, they shouldn't be inconsistent. We should though. You know why? We just waking up from a damn lie. That, you know what I'm saying? So when they the thing about it, we should be inconsistent with our claim, but we ain't. Every flat earther saying the same thing. Earth is flat, and that's why we call it flat earth. We ain't saying we gotta agree on nothing else. See, but with the globe earth, you just can't agree that the earth is a globe. You gotta agree that gravity is balling it up, it's whirling through space. It's so much that come with that. And that's why it's so much confusion and why I know their model better than them, let's just say. Because they ain't gonna go through the yeah, go ahead, you know.
Well, we know that ancient people was all on different sides of the earth or parts of the earth, and they all basically had the same depictions.
Yeah.
So they was using the same universal law when they
Yeah.
had the same depiction of the enclosed system. They had the same depiction of how vortex energy worked with the same symbols, the Celtic, the Vedics, that all the same people got the same concept, and they wasn't even in contact with each other. Well, how did they all know the same thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Because
that's right.
like you know, the physicians, they're just making it up as they go, because in order for them to do their job, they have to rely on the science. So if they don't really understand the science in the first place, then what are they really relying on? Like, they can't critically think because they were trained not to critically think. That's the reason why I didn't do that program, because I'm like, nope, because that's MDs that were in my program. So I'm like, why did they leave their field and come in over here? Because they want to think freely. They're tired of being told how to think. And we're all on to something. Like, none of us are saying something that's too far off from each other. We're all like putting certain pieces together, but it's just that our government, like, that's the reason why they group us flat earthers. That's kind of disrespectful, because I don't think that term just encompasses everything about us. We're not just like, that's all we believe is the earth is flat. No, that's just one concept. We're really
You know,
scientists.
you know what's so sick about it? The earth's so big, we can't see the curve from the ground, but Eratosthenes measured the earth from the ground with chopsticks. Now the earth 24,000 miles in diameter. He measured it with chopsticks and shadows, but yet he can't see the curve from the ground. Now mind you, Eratosthenes thought that the earth was in the middle of the solar system, stationary, with all the planets and sun going around it when he did that.
Yeah, that's true.
How many
Two
zodiacs
sticks.
should there be though? How many zodiacs should there be if the Earth is a globe? I mean, shouldn't there be a zodiac and like
Yeah. You
Yup,
need
three,
about
you're
you
right.
need
You're
four?
about
right. It
2
should be different
wheels.
constellations,
Yeah.
different stars. You're right.
That's
Especially
We
if you're
have
facts.
moving through
already
space,
done the
you see the
opposite
same star.
experiment. Instead of
Yeah,
a
so
flat
you
surface, we did it on the ball, and
uh
all the shadows point in the wrong direction, and you know that it should be pointing at if you live in a ball. That's what I'm saying. We already disprove in every single way that experiment. Like Bro Sanchez is saying, it's stupid. How would you do that in a flat surface if you believe you're in a ball? The shadow is being cast to a flat surface.
Because you don't understand. That's what they say. We don't understand it. We can't
Exactly. They don't
comprehend
have an
how it
argument.
works.
So
That's
now,
always the answer.
Exactly.
and even the knowledge, did not the medicine knowledge, which is just basically a science, medical science, did this knowledge not come from Hippocrates? Is that not the father of medicine? And Hippocrates is just hypocrite. So that's already telling you in your face something is not adding up.
facts. Facts. Facts.
That's a good one, sister.
The hypocrite oath is what the doctors take.
Yep, the Hippocratic oath. And then when you
Yep.
go down that rabbit hole and the symbol of the snake around the cone, I mean, they put so much stuff in our face, and the snake around the cone. If you that's the
The
stepping stone
hospital.
that
At the
Brother
Watch
hospital.
this.
Sanchez was talking
Watch this,
about.
Yeah.
right? Let me show you how you cooking, those sister. You know, the thing about if people say we reaching about hypocrite and Hippocratic, just think about the symbol being a snake. Now, a snake can heal you and kill you. That's a hypocrite. That's a what you call a
Yin and yang.
if a person hugging you and stabbing you in the back when they doing it, like they telling you that the same people is healing us, is killing us, because it's the Hegelian dialectic. They got that if they're gonna have an institution to heal, then on one hand, if they're gonna need people to need that institution, they need to have another one to kill. It's like
You know what
it's
what is the
crazy.
final
Do y'all
job
Yes,
see what
sir.
I'm
in
saying?
that
Yeah.
one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The final job in that one is that Hippocrates allegedly he suicide with mercury. And what do they put in the the Java? You know what they put?
Like that symbol, like the fact that the symbol of medical institution in America is like dealing with snakes. That is something to think about, though, you know, because Jesus is a healer, right? And they said, beware of false healers on the earth. And it even tell you that these false people on the earth would wear the symbol of serpent. Now watch this, right? The thing about treatment, it don't heal you. It just treat the mind, treat mental. Get what it does, right? Whatever illness you got, what the medicine does, it targets the part of your mind that's giving you the symptom of that illness, and it tricks that part of the mind like you heal until the medicine wear off. Then the symptom come back, and you got to keep taking the medicine because you ain't healed. You just a drug addict, because that's the industry that they got us in. True healing is when an ancestor gave you a certain herbal blend or whatever they did, and it was over with. You didn't keep coming back. You was healthy, vibrant, full of life, and you lived on to be what you're supposed to be. You didn't keep saying, like, they is really a scam. It is what the Bible say about the false healers. And the whole thing about it is early Christians were healing with the knowledge of Christ, which was really the original natural health systems on earth and all that. And so the original Christians wouldn't have went to the fucking Pharisees and Sadducees and Caesars hospitals to let them do anything to them.
That reminds me, you know what? That nowadays we got all these procedures of, cutting the female to take out the fetus out, and, all the pain and so on. And back then, you should take an infusion of plants, and that was it. You lose a baby, and that's it. No pain or nothing. It's just madness what they did.
Yeah,
It's a business with the doctor. They just locked the doctor up just now for doing a bunch of surgeries, telling somebody they need surgery when
And
they
didn't
didn't need
need
surgery.
it. Right.
You were like, yeah,
Facts.
you need surgery. You need surgery. That's 60, 30 grand every time I say you need surgery. And the people didn't even need no dang on surgery.
Because
man.
think about this though, Red. Let me show you why this is crazy. Because think about this, right? If I'm a surgeon and my job is to cut people, and if most of the people coming to me really don't need surgery, then the surgery industry gonna just fall. And if the surgery industry fall, everything else gonna fall like a domino effect. Check this out, right? The medical industry know that there are really not too many reasons to be cutting on a damn human. This is so radical, but it's the most expensive procedure, so they gotta make the most radical option common and regular, right? They gotta make a woman get her pregnancy by getting cut. They gotta do circumcision, that like all of this, they gotta do all of these ways, right? And then they say, you know what, since the surgery industry may die, guess what? They gotta come. It's more cosmetic surgeries now with BBLs, lips, like the surgery stuff like that. So they expanded it. That ain't health. But see, here's another thing, and I'm gonna shut up right here. Beauty and health industry go hand in hand, and that is a scam, because that now allow them to cut you and use like medical approach to cosmetic procedures. Like, they can group both of them together. I'm still researching this, but I know that the beauty thing, like when they group that with the health thing, that's got something to do with like all of these doctors doing cosmetic surgeries and shit. But I'm gonna fall back.
They're trying to make people more acceptable to getting surgery, so that when they start putting the chip in people's head, it'll be easy to do transhumanism.
Yeah,
it'd be cool. Like, you're gonna have to
facts.
get the finger. So what if you had to go out and everybody got to get a chip put in their finger just to buy and sell and
You
get
ain't
stuff? You got to
lying.
have the finger. They'd be like, man, I'm gonna get. So when I'm around a group of people, I ask them, and they so susceptible. They be like, well, that's the way the world is now. So you telling me if they tell you got to get a chip in the back of your ear to put on the back of your ear so you can read better and see things better,
They gonna do
you
it.
just gonna go along with it.
Remember, Retton,
People get BBLs and stuff.
they already gave them superhumans, Teletubbies. They already gave you, primed you up for the transhuman thing. If guys ready to sleep with a robot, they ready to merge with one and become one.
You're right about that, Sanchez. Yes, sir.
God, and you know, Elon Musk is the one that's going to innovate that, since he's the one who already changed the path with PayPal, man. When he was the one who created PayPal, and PayPal is the reason why we can make digital transactions. And that's a change in human history, if you ask me. Elon Musk
Facts.
doing it. He gonna do it again.
Yeah, I think Brother Sanchez was cooking on something too, because like everything we need to heal ourselves is already in the body. Like when they don't tell you what stuff is, so like vitamins, scientifically, that's just groups of atoms. It's just groups of molecules. So all of this just goes back to your basic atom, regardless of if you have food, because the only reason why the food would be healthy to you is if it contained something, some group of atoms that would actually benefit you.
Can
So,
I ask you a question?
uh-huh.
How do you, okay, you know how you can use a ferrocell to see a magnetic field, or you can grab a magnet and put it to a TV and you will get like the rainbow or Nazi spider effect. So you can really visualize and see the magnetic field when you put it under a ferrocell or use a magnet to a resolution screen. How come we never seen any atoms on a microscope level? Why we can't see it? Why can't
Yeah,
we see any atoms or molecules? We can see cells.
You know why? Because really the whole concept of atoms is bull crap. See, atoms is
right.
this, right? Atoms is a result of this. Once you start everything from a big bang, you got to have small building blocks from micro and in macro to explain the germ realm all the way up to a big old mountain. So now you need a very small unit of building block that would even make a germ, and that would be your atom. So the atom can make a germ and it can make a mountain. They had to come up with this small ass unit because remember they put themselves in a corner when they said, well, it start from a random big bang. And my thing, well, okay, how did everything form into its shapes? Now it comes into this small building block called an atom that we gotta make up other lies of how it behaves to shape the universe to where we see on a nano micro scale, which is a bunch of bullshit too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Hey,
something.
and that's what.
Yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, sister.
I
So
was
we
saying
can't see atoms with the naked eye, basically.
so there's some fishy about the atoms because listen, because I didn't know a lot of things too, because you think you know. And then when I was being taught, I was like, wait a minute. So when I look at
Oh,
the
by the way,
periodic
I
table,
ain't cutting you off,
uh-huh.
sister. Let me just say one thing. I'm not saying atoms don't exist. I'm saying not the way they teach about them. But yeah, go ahead.
Would you
You know,
say it's
yeah, she
pixels
got it.
then, Sanchez?
Yeah,
Pixels.
that's the way.
Exactly.
I go
That's
with
what I'm
pixels
Exactly.
over
going into.
atoms.
Yeah. So
And
yeah,
that's
if you remember me going into the pixel thing, yeah, just refer to that, man. That's exactly how I would refer to it.
Hey
Salute to the
guys,
sister. Yeah.
and that's why it's so hard to
So
understand this reality, because we're not using the right understanding. We using the fake understanding to get us thrown off.
it's
yeah, because when it comes to atoms, first of all, they don't know what it is. Like they, of course, like Brother Sanchez said, they have to think of the basic element, but they don't know what it is. They don't know where it came from. So that's already gonna be a tough sell right there, because now you're gonna have to start making up stuff. But then I found out that we didn't always have the same amount of elements on the periodic table. So apparently, when I started studying all this stuff, it had changed. And of course, I was studying it at first, but I was doing it on such a basic level. I wasn't paying attention to every little thing. So I wish I had some of my old like material so I could go back and confirm what did they show me versus now. But they told me that elements 1 through 90 are like and a little bit above, because like here's the thing too, they can never give a solid answer. So they were like 1 through 90, and then a little bit above is like that's a natural non-man-made element, so they just naturally occur. And then
Then
the
they
other
take
one,
ether off the element. They took the ether off the element table, periodic table too,
yeah,
right?
they'll do that too. They'll switch it up, take stuff on and off. Then they can't change the original things because
and
like Brother
here
Sanchez
go the
said, they
crazy
already
thing. Here go
changed a lot.
one interjection, sister. Y'all cooking about the periodic table. Like the ether would be the periodic table itself when you think about it, because it's the thing that's containing all of the damn elements. See,
Right, right.
this goes back into why your atmosphere don't fly off into space. It can this you see this will lead back to that argument about, you know what I'm saying?
But I
Because
think
you
the
don't
ether
have
was
that containing your lightest elements on your periodic table being the gases that ascend to the highest realms.
I think the ether was like removed 100 years ago, like long ago.
You know, the ether ain't nothing but the medium that everything sit within, and that's what we call an firmament dome. That's literally the firmament, the nectar, the ether is 7 of them, 7 layers,
And
7
and
ethers. Yeah.
I'm not just making this up. I went on the chat GPT, like not saying that GPT is like an educational resource, but it's just like funny how it'll tell you the truth. But it says here, not all the elements on the periodic table are naturally occurring. It says it right here. While the first 94 up to plutonium are naturally occurring, the remaining elements are synthetic elements created in laboratories. That's what I'm saying. So are you telling me
That's true.
that you creating this stuff out of thin air?
See, what's going on is this, right? Here's what they doing real quick. It's natural elements that exist with the earth, but then they start making hybrids by like mixing this with that. They do it with fruit too. So like, you know, the orange ain't natural. That's a tangerine and a grapefruit. But go ahead.
Is red mercury is like a man-made thing? Cause have y'all ever seen the videos of them using garlic to to repel the red mercury, but then they use gold to attract it, and then they put it in front of a mirror. It don't have a reflection, and it does crazy things like boil water, and they use liquid mercury to make like to create to make gold or to make like a thrust force of energy with liquid mercury. But is red mercury a man-made thing or is it a natural element?
Or is it vampire blood?
I think that shit's man-made, but I can be wrong. If I'm not sure, I think that's man-made.
Did y'all see the videos of the red mercury though? Have y'all ever seen what it is?
Yeah.
They said it's what's in the Vermont.
The original name is Quicksilver.
Right. That's what's in the Vermont, mercury. Yep.
Hey, but a lot of these elements, especially the ones that the sisters speak about that are made, a lot of them come from actually us existing, existing, like such as mining and doing gas and stuff, and mixing with certain other elements create elements. So these are means that they use to find life forms too. Like they scan planets for certain elements because they know it could only exist through human being there, you know, through certain things being planted and certain things being mined. So they are elements that are made, but it's because we are existing and walking and breathing, and without our existence, they wouldn't exist, if that makes sense.
But isn't planet a word that comes from the Greeks and it means wandering star?
Well,
so is the Earth a planet?
So the thing is, Greeks don't have the terminology to express the truth because they was the last. Remember, the Greeks was teaching that weird stuff about the heavens, like Olympia, Venus, and Zeus, and you know how the old church was. So trying to sync their terminology to the ancient world ain't gonna happen. That's where etymology comes in. When you look at the word planet, forget what the Greeks meant by it. Break the word down on an etymology level, plane and net. A planet is a plane of existence enclosed inside of a net. So when you go with the etymology of the word, it is flat earth. It's a plane with a nut, the net, you know, the shoe, you know, the nut and the gab is the plane and the net. He represent the plane and nut is the net. So
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also when you were talking about perspective, like we have to get really deep with that one too, because like if you take something down to the atom, that's not really that small if you think about it, because there's always another portal to another portal, and you're not gonna know it's there because of your vantage point. Just like we don't see stuff floating in the air, but it's something floating in the air. So I think it can go so deep, and that's the thing. Like they just sit up here and they make up stories about the next level of thinking. Like, okay, we crossed that element, now let's go deeper, because you can't have something without something else being attached, because we're in a world that's infinite. So you can't just they said that you can't create nor destroy this energy that's here. You can't just destroy things. So there's got to be something else that goes with it, but they stop at a certain point. Well, you can't stop there because you said there's more to it.
No, you cooking, and look, check this out. Since we was talking about the word Adam, right? I'm finna break some down. The word is a tomb, like a grave site or a casket, a tomb. Adam, and the reason I'm saying that is because this is called an expanding sphere, what I'm showing. What this expanding sphere represent is when your consciousness was activated, when you became conscious of reality, boom, they call it conception, right before birth. What happens is we're in a holographic reality, and what's creating it is the expansion of your own light. So what I'm gonna show you is this right here. Here is the Big Bang concept right here, right? You see how the light is creating physical matter? The only way that can be explained is when we dream, right? When we dream, this light that you see in the middle of the brain, it not only creates the world around the body, it projects the body itself inside of that world. It's the innermost part of the self. In other words, if our reality, let me show y'all something real quick. Watch this. Just give me a minute to cook. Here's the truth about atoms and the Big Bang. Adam is a person. Adam is a blue god that exists at the Garden of Eden, sleep, because he went into the simulation. Adam is your God body. It's not this small scale. It's the fact that when you think about a hologram, each of these little dots that you see, they are a miniature, little bitty, small version of the big man. So that's how a hologram is made. It's fractal. So every little dot you see is atom. So you got many atoms in one atom. That's the Elohim, and then it's El, the singularity and the plural. Let us make man in our image. It's the fact that the one big version of atom is created by all these small dots, like you said, pixels, right? That's what you can call it. And the building blocks are atoms because each dot is a little bitty man. It's a little atom, it's a little him making the whole thing. And this literally the nature of our reality, the fact that but hold on. Another thing I want to show you about Vishnu. What I'm teaching you here is like, why is Vishnu blue? Because they was teaching how Vishnu is a hologram. And they showing you all of these little dots around Vishnu. This is to say that the sleeping Vishnu right there is the one in the middle at the Garden of Eden at the tree of life that fell asleep. And when God fell asleep, his consciousness expanded from the middle of the earth, and each ray of light became a different bubble around him and a parallel reality that he exists in. So in order for him to wake up at the North Pole with his Santa Claus hat on at the North Pole, right, he got all of these bubbles got the buzz. This is the story that the Hindu told about the avatars of Vishnu. Basically, he's gonna, like Buddha, right, sleep in the tree. This Neo in the Matrix. He got to live all of his lifetimes and basically bust all of these bubbles, like, and to activate his God body. It's like unpacking a gift, because if you notice that precious things are protected in bubble wrap paper, our God bodies are at the North Pole wrapped up in this sort of like what we saw in the Matrix sort of thing going on. But the whole point, hold on real quick, the whole point that I wanted to make real quick, I know y'all excited, this is deep, but don't rob the people of the download that's coming to me real quick. So check it out, right? All I'm showing y'all about atoms is being a tomb, is that this is a tomb for Vishnu. Look at him. He's in a grave site. Like, man awoke as God asleep. When God died, man arise. So man don't arise as one. Man arise in duality, in parallel realities where you exist as multiple. See, you only exist as one version of yourself in heaven. But as long as God is asleep, you exist in the outer realm as multiple versions in a multiverse. You in a mirror house reflecting God's different. God is having a thought at the middle of the earth, but that thought is being variated in every parallel reality to see which one is the best result, so to speak. So if y'all, this can go deep, but I don't want to hog the mic. I just wanted to lay the foundation of like the atom concept with Vishnu and how the ancestors would have broke down what an atom is, because think about it. Each one of these dots is an expanding sphere. It's a little bitty cone that's coming from a single ray of light. And that ray of light expanding at a point, becoming its own little dot. That's why I showed the expanding sphere right here. This is really what an atom is, but they give us this. But
I never noticed them ones and zeros in that background either, Sanchez, that you show for that avatar. That's crazy. When you showed that avatar just now, I got a bunch of zeros and ones in the background.
Yeah, I
never noticed that. That's crazy. And the avatar, just like the movie Avatar, the avatars was blue.
Yeah, facts. See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
it
that's
goes really,
And that look like a mirror room right there. That look like he's in a real mirror room for real. That's crazy.
and this goes really deep because we're dealing with stuff that you can't see. So like sometimes when I'm listening to Brother Sanchez debate, I'm thinking in my mind, how can you really debate him when he took the time to research deeper level on things that we can't even see? So don't tell me you got some science, you know? You can't see it.
Yes,
see the thing about this though, if a person say, Sanchez, how do I see one of these bubbles? See, listen, these bubbles around Vishnu are the stars in the sky. And each star in the sky is a gateway into a parallel reality. And we go to them when we dream. And we don't take our body with us because we got a body in each of these bubbles, just like Vishnu showing, just like the Hindu was teaching.
Exactly.
Hey,
The bubbles don't exist, but it's just that you can't see microscopically like that. He's saying this stuff exists, but this is what you're gonna see in our environment, but it's inside of there.
So what about that picture with the guy sticking his head out the bubble, Sanchez? What's the name of that picture?
That's that's like a Europeanized artwork of Enoch. You know how we got this old, let me show you real quick, right? So we got images of Enoch, right? Leaving the earth. Another version of this image here is the one you just brought up. It's just that guy you see is Enoch again, leaving the earth. It's just a more modernized version. Yep.
And it's funny how his body is inside the dome, but his head peek out like it's in the mind. Like the head only sticks out. So it's like the consciousness.
That's facts. Yeah,
and that picture was under that picture you just showed too. The one with the guy sticking his head out was under that picture that you just brought up.
Oh yeah, because it's all Enoch. That's right. So, but yeah, that's the whole thing about this one. So they took Enoch out the Bible, and people don't really like to go into, you know, why. Like the thing about this, right? Let me show you something. I'm glad you brought Enoch up. Here's the thing. Being able to leave the earth is the knowledge of how to liberate yourself. Guess what they turned this to? The Statue of Liberty. Now, the reason why the Statue of Liberty is blue is for the same reason that Krishna is blue. It's an avatar, it's a simulation. The reason that the Statue of Liberty is busting up out the water is because guess what? When we leave a simulation, we gonna bust up from the waters above and liberate ourselves. This was the original, this was the original teaching of the Statue of Liberty before they turned it into what you see today. Yeah.
Hey, well, it seems that's what he meant when he said, let us make man in our image. Obviously, something was already here, the hologram that they just tweaked a little and made into their image, you know, Adam.
Let's make manifestation in our image.
That's why we're human. We're not fully man. We're human. You know, man was already here.
Light manifestation.
Which was a hologram. You know, the blue, the avatar. They just made the avatar into their image that made us un-avatar or unhuman.
So I noticed how everything.
No, you got it.
I noticed how everything was blue once he stuck his head out. There's a bunch of blueness on the outside of that too.
It's like it's like you looking at somebody that's ascending up from the bottom of the ocean and you in a boat. They gonna have this blue little shade to them. That's the concept of Vishnu. He's under some water, submerged, That's where he getting his blue light. The whole thing about this water, it's the whole light. The light that's creating Vishnu is blue light. But each of these ethers is creating a different Vishnu in their own color light, not just blue. And these lights, and these layered, like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna mention something.
So being that the sky is blue, that reflection from the sky makes the water appear to be blue too, as above, so below.
It's like
Yes,
a
you can
fish,
replicate
like I
that.
said, yeah, you could say that because a fish at the bottom of the ocean, right, will look up and see just blue up above them, just like we do, like same concept. But yeah,
Look at
man,
a pool
And most of
of
them
the
deep water fishes
the
has
pool.
solar bioluminescence. They glow.
right, and all of us down here at the bottom of this ocean got an aura around us. Ain't that something?
Some pools are on the ceiling and you can see
That's
from
crazy.
below, and they create the same effect that you see in the reflection with the glass and so on, rainbows, and you can basically replicate it. It's not something new.
It's
Like when I
almost
look.
like, yeah.
Go ahead.
But what I was gonna say, it's almost like when you drop a seed in the water, then it start to sprout and germinate at the bottom of the bottle. But when it start to sprout and open up, it becomes lighter, so it start to ascend too. So it's like we was dropped down as like this black hole or this little seed. A black hole dropped in the water. Then the light started to expand out from the black hole and get sucked back in, and we start to become these little torus fields right here that we're looking at. But it's like the same thing. We couldn't have you know, activated our light if something didn't put us down here, just like a seed being dropped in the water. So it's something, know what it's doing it for our good. That's something that's comforting.
So when they be like, oh, like somebody asked me the other day, they was like, black holes. We were talking about black holes. They were like, show me a black hole. And I was like, the middle of your eye. The middle of your eye, isn't that a black hole?
Because when they drop us here, we all like a seed, a black hole, like the third eye is closed. But the thing about it, just like a black hole, or like just say a seed is this potential. Like they say black hole is potential. That's like a seed because it's got the potential to be a tree, but you got to activate it. And this is the thing about when black hole come in contact with light. Now the light can come from outside the black hole or it can come from inside. You see what I'm saying? Because the black hole is a portal into many worlds and lead out the many worlds. It's like a cosmic revolving door, a checkpoint, like a, you know. But my whole thing is this right here, man. We are like a black hole, but the light couldn't be activated until we was put in the water. Now that's so similar to like the germination process that it kind of make you want to start looking at it from that perspective. But check this out. The chick on this horse got on the same hat Vishnu got on. They call it the birthday hat, the Santa Claus hat. And here's my theory on why we wear that cone hat. Because photosynthesis, if you think about it, the little matrix pods was cone shaped. So like when they break out the pod, that's your birthday. So like putting this hat on, the birthday shit, they be rubbing it in our face. And that's their whole model of the Big Bang. They said when the light of the Big Bang expanded, man wasn't created until the light expanded that far out, y'all. This is where man at in relation to the Big Bang. You see? So when you think about it, right? Our pineal gland is projecting our body, like I just said right here. This right here is what's creating your body. When this leave the earth, your body gonna fade away because your body is a holographic projection and a hologram need a light source. That's your soul. So check this out, right? Your body is a flesh, which is a flash a flash of light, flesh. You just a flash of light that's fading in and out. That's like a lightning bolt, which is why it's represented by a sine wave. But really what's going on is this, right? The true self is at the North Pole inside of a little incubator. And from that incubator, it's able to sleep and dream and project its other self out here to project itself into the simulation or the dream world. But the thing about this, right? This version of you out here is just a projection of what he's dreaming in here. And when he wake up in here, this version of you out here gonna cease to exist, because it's the light that's allowing it to, this basically this little incubator is like a mold. It's allowing the light of the true self to shape itself into your avatar, into this realm. So it's like me making a shadow character on the wall. I let the light project on my hands and I shake my hands to how I want my character to look. This little incubator is what's doing the shaping. Your light is shining inside of this incubator, but once it exits out of this filter right here, like a camera lens, it turns into your desired manifestation in the simulation. So if you can see what's going on, everything from the way you look, everything about you is happening in between the sleeper right here, projecting its, see, because the light don't have a form. The further back we trace this thing back, because I can keep making more cameras and project them from, like how, how the chakra layers show. But the more I project backward, the less like a human he resembles, till all of a sudden you end up at the last little incubator, and that one is just a ball of light. See, this is a molding process. Each of these little cameras is like a furnace. When the light goes through that, it's shaping it into more of a human. This is how God became flesh, or a flash of light, or avatar in the simulation. They call it photosynthesis, but if you study how a photo is processed, think about this, right? A synth is what? An avatar. That's another word for avatar. So when they say photosynthesis, is really code word for a photosynth of yourself. They have a chemical reactions to explain everything, but you can cut through the bull crap when you see everything is based upon the expansion of light, which lead me back to this whole concept of an expanding sphere. When we say in micro and macro, we're talking about the knowledge of a hologram, which means that the most smallest building block of a hologram resembles the largest thing, the big hologram itself. That's why I was saying about that hologram, like the whole thing is made out of a bunch of smaller versions put together. So we say as within, so without, micro, macro. That's another way to look at that too.
So that film that bees on the projector is the self, like how the picture you just put up. When you put the film under that light, it projects on a two-dimensional screen. But the true self is that film under that projector. You know how that picture you got with the old school projector that we used to have in school back in the days? And you put the film under the light and then it projects on a two-dimensional screen. So like the sky is the two-dimensional. Yeah, the same picture right here. And then you got a picture with the actual projector with the film under the projector, making a screen on the dang
like a pyramid.
on the wall. You know that picture you got, Sanchez, with the projector? That look just like, that's exactly how this picture is right here. It's the true self.
That's what it's based on, you know what I'm saying? Because that's why I said it's the Truman Show. We're inside of a TV. Guess what? A lot of flat earthers don't agree with this, but they will look up and say the sky is plasma and they got a plasma TV.
Fire, exactly.
You know what that reminds me?
Damn, that's crazy. You said that. Said the plasma TVs, right? Damn.
That reminds me that there is a pyramid in every single continent and in every single ocean related to the topic.
Yeah, but this goes so deep that I was thinking about this the other day too. Same
That
thing.
was fire, Sanchez.
And I think this goes so deep as to like think about this, for instance, like there's people who they encounter injuries and like let's say they lose their arm, but they describe they still have the sensation that the arm is there. So that's just like plastic surgery. When you get the plastic surgery, this concept of projection is so deep that when you get the plastic surgery, you still don't alter your true self. You still look like you, even though you change your body, because your actual
Right.
you is not even still
Right.
your body. That's still a
Right.
projection, even though
Cause
it's
that's the
physical.
energy, just like a leaf. They take a leaf off and then
Mm-hmm.
cut the top of the leaf and then put it under a light, and the whole leaf is still there.
Yeah, because they don't
And you
actually know where we come from. They don't know where the actual original thing is.
That's the source.
Yep, that's the
now,
source.
When
That's
you
the
cut that
source.
leaf and then you put that leaf under a light and it
yeah.
still like it's a full leaf, the energy is still there because
Let me
energy can't
ask
be.
y'all. Let me ask y'all about what y'all saying now. Can y'all tie it into like cloning plants with like cutting off a piece and then, you know, people that grow weed will tell you how like, oh man, maybe this will get me censored, but that's where y'all going with it, man. It's like this is so deep. I just gotta give y'all props on that. Now,
Appreciate it, big
People
the
dog.
whole,
have
the
You the
that's a
whole,
man
whole
the,
though. You the
another
man,
level
big
of
dog.
the
be able
whole
to
thing.
clone.
Oh, my bad, sister. Go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with you. I'm tracking on that same thing. Just like we reproduce, that's on the line of cloning. This goes so deep. We can even clone,
What you
basically.
about to say, Sanchez?
No, I was gonna say they made this movie called Ghost in the Machine, and most people wouldn't compare this to the Truman Show, but everything is telling us like the reason I brought this up, bro, because you was asking me about Enoch, right? And look, Enoch is basically a ghost leaving a TV. This may sound crazy, but we literally, like when you said pull this projection up right here, ascension
Hey,
is literally when your avatar walks off of the damn world stage. Guess what it's gonna look like? Your character, imagine a painter paint a picture and one of the damn characters hop off the canvas. They show you that in movies all the time. That's literally the Truman Show. That's what Enoch telling us. I could show you another God that's doing this. Everybody is suggesting that the nature of our reality is just like a ghost leaving the machine and crossing over. They call it the crossover. Christ did it. And in this movie, when you see the ghost leaving out the machine, they told stories about Jack leaving the box. It's so many versions of us leaving the damn Truman Show, the TV, you know, the simulation, basically.
Yeah, that's what happened in Fat Albert. They
So,
came out the TV to help
Yeah,
girl out.
because well,
damn, I
one thing,
ain't even remember that. That's
yeah,
deep.
one thing I picked up on the essence of a human being, I noticed one difference between the human being and the other life forms are that like every life form has something similar, but where the degrees or one spectrum you can use are like the level of distraction. So like humans can get extremely distracted, like versus like a bumblebee. They do what they're supposed to do, even though a bee can get kind of distracted because you can swat it and it'll engage with you a little bit. But like a tree is fully not distracted at all. And like humans can get distracted. And there's something to that because us being able to get distracted has something to do with free will, have something to do with morals, have something to do with personality. Like there's little gray areas that they can't explain, but what I think it is the science blending together. Like when you mesh the physical world with the so-called scientific world, maybe the middle range is the morals. Like when you mix consciousness versus unconsciousness, like a lot of these things we see as terms, like they're actually a middle realm between, because everything is a bond. So there's micro bonds and macro bonds, and even if you deal with the human as a whole, it has to bond to something. And even if you go to the universe, that has to bond to something too. And this stuff goes very deep because that's the reason why now the new thing that they're studying is epigenetics. And now they're trying to say that you can have a physical manifestation or you can have an atomic change even just because of something like trauma. So you could have grew up in an abusive home and then you don't just get mental health illness, you get like a physical illness, all because Your DNA has been manipulated. Your atoms have been re-switched around all of a sudden because of this trauma. So now they're trying to go into that realm. Like, and all of this has to do with consciousness, because they don't really know what is the cause of our environment. And they definitely don't know what a personality is. They've already said that. They don't know what the pineal gland is. They don't know what morals are. They don't know what free will is, and they don't know what the atom is.
And
So,
this picture looks like that when they say the eyes are the windows to the soul, it looked like his soul leaving out his brain, and the sun in the
Right.
background is like the eye like leaving out, being extracted.
You know,
yeah.
there's a little hole in the top of our skull, and that is to when the soul is leaving this body from this world. Like, we're in a dream. There's another version of us sleeping, and that's gonna wake up at our death. But like you said, that is the soul leaving the body. Like, the whole dome, firmament dome, is your head. You're inside of your own universe. So they had this guy, right? He's going viral. He said, I saw the firmament dome. You can't see the firmament dome. That's a lie. But I'm gonna tell you how it's a lie, right? That's like saying, while your soul is in your body and is leaving your body, you can see your own skull. Guess what? The simulation is cloaking you from that. So the whole thing, that's why the whole sky is black. That's really your white skull that you're in. But all of those stars is the end of your neural network, just like a plasma ball. Them the filaments ends. That's crashing into the end of the dome. Y'all see what I'm saying? That's what the stars are.
Okay.
So
No highways.
so think about this, right? You got this pineal gland in the middle of your brain, and coming from that is all of these tentacles, which are called your neural network. Now watch this. That's what Elon want, by the way. He wants your soul, but let me explain something to you about this. This is what your mind is. You know what the brain look like. I'm trying to show you what the mind is. The mind in its natural state is that ball of light shining with all the rays of light around it like this, right? Now, the end of all of these rays of light is one of the stars in the sky, and they said that your neural network is all of your Akashic records and memory of all of your lifetimes and all that. Now think about what I just said. If your neural network got all that memory, it's because what Vishnu's showing us, each one of them tentacles is a whole nother you with a whole nother brain and a whole nother experience, dog. So that's this our neural network is the expansion of our mind into the astral plane, connecting us to other version of ourselves in parallel realities. And they don't want us to know that. And you know, Elon know that, and he want to use Neuralink and Starlink to intercept your energy at all of these crash points in the ether and bend them back into his little matrix or whatever. That's what the whole Neuralink is the Ghostbusters block to suck up your consciousness. But your consciousness is split in each avatar. So if you look at a Neuralink hat, it's got a bunch of tentacles, man. They say, let me show you how many copper wires on a Neuralink. Watch this. It's so many. They at a nanoscale. So the Neuralink is very small, but it's got like 96 copper threads. Basically, it's a thread for each one of these little tentacles. It's gonna tether itself to the end of your neural network, and then Elon will basically be able to intercept, hack your body, because your willpower come from the fact that your mind is telling your body what you want to do and you go do it. But if you paralyze, then basically the cord is severed between the mind and the body. Now the ancestors knew that you can weld that connection back together with certain vibrational tones without Neuralink, like a welder welding, splicing two ends together. Certain tones could restore these neural pathways and heal the body with just tone. But these people ain't trying to heal you, they trying to get your soul. And this is so I can go deep with this thing, but I'm gonna fall back.
I just thought about something when you said weld. it kind of remind me of the other word Baal, like how they took all the bells out of like all the cathedrals and churches because they said it was a place of higher frequency that people could kind of get to higher selves of these other dimensions. So that was very
Let me guess,
interesting
bro
that you bring
Sanchez.
that up.
If you do the maths, it ends up in 666, right?
Yeah, so the whole thing, man, I love these conversations, but I can't do them forever. I'm tired. I gotta save some. But man, it's been a very productive day when it come to Flat Earth versus Globe Earth. I can't thank y'all enough for the donations and for being on the panel. Appreciate y'all, man. Real talk. So I know everybody
We can't do this nowhere else.
Hey, I'm gonna be coming back live over here a lot, so don't trip. And sometime I'm gonna just go live and fall back and listen in and clean up and just hear the debate. So we finna be cranking it up over here. And to the people who wanna do debates or email and schedule debates, hit my email up and we can schedule it to the Globe Earthers. Let's do it. Peace and love. We out. Hey man, before we go, let me give a big shout out to Awakening Minds. Appreciate you, bro. He said, "You've been cooking all stream, fam. Much respect. Salutes to the sister and Retton too. I've been listening, but of course I had much to say. Much love at the chat and the panel. We appreciate your time, bro, and make sure the sister come back for sure. She definitely gotta come back. That's facts. And let me give a shout out to Leonard Robinson and to Meme in the USA. Man, I appreciate all of the super chats, real talk, and all of the memberships. I humbly appreciate y'all. See y'all on the next one.